His day kicked off not with caffeine, but a jaw-dropper that hit harder than espresso. The uni steps, normally a traffic jam of students, now looked like a ghost town. His classroom looked ransacked, bags, books, and zero explanation, like a fire drill without the memo. The cafeteria hadn't fared better. Half-eaten lunches and abandoned trays told the same rushed tale. Wandering empty halls that once buzzed with life felt like stumbling into an academic apocalypse. One thought looped in his brain. Was he the only one who didn't get the memo? The bus never came, so he hoofed it home through streets quieter than a library on break. Maybe it was all a weird dream. Sleep sounded like the perfect test. He trudged upstairs, still waiting for something, anything, to feel normal. He called out the usual greeting, hoping for the usual reply. Silence. That was new, Mom always replied. It wasn't fear, just a weird chill. She never missed this hour. The wall clock held steady at 2:45 p.m. That time felt off, like something didn't add up. Odd, he remembered leaving school around that exact moment. He pulled out his phone just to double-check. Phone confirmed it. 2:45 p.m., Monday, October 6th. Brain kicked into math mode. This wasn't adding up. 2 hours on foot, yet the sun hadn't budged. Suspicious. Then it hit him. What if time just... Backpack still on, he stared out the window, fishing for answers in frozen scenery. A weird sound sliced through the silence, making him flinch. It sounded like wings, but not your average pigeon, more like dragon-sized. The flapping gave way to the click-clack of heels, sharp and sudden. He turned, and there she was, glowing like some celestial fashion icon. She casually dropped the bomb. Time hit pause, for everyone except him. His eyeballs nearly staged an escape. The big question hung in the air. Who was she? She laughed like it was obvious, tossing out a cryptic hint. Her joke soared over his head like a drone with no landing gear. His first guess? A burglar. She looked genuinely offended. Wings and all. One dramatic wing flap later, she seemed to ask, seriously, how much clearer could she be? He still had no clue who this winged mystery woman was. Strike two, he guessed cosplayer. Her patience took a visible hit. A polite cough masked her rising frustration. She finally went full formal. Angel status confirmed. Name, Lita. Her mission? Deliver answers before he broke down entirely. She called him a straggler. He just blinked, overloaded and speechless. That word hit a nerve. Deep, awkward flashbacks activated. His abandonment streak began early. 1 field trip, 0 headcounts. The pattern repeated, forgotten, again and again. Now it was practically a phobia. Even in college, group events happened. He just wasn't invited. That final reveal broke him. He hit the floor, soul crushed by cosmic déjà vu. She smiled gently, explaining that Earth had cleared out, except for him. He looked up, eyes begging for a reason. Why him? She hinted at something big coming first, the world-ending agenda, then his role. Earth apparently leveled up. Mana unlocked, Q magic update. She kept going, Akasha Chronicles, power metrics. Humanity just got a stat sheet. It all sounded oddly familiar, like a game tutorial he could actually follow. She smiled, clearly proud of her NPC tier guidance skills. Then came the kicker, monsters incoming, ordinary weapons, useless. That clinched it. He was sure she was just a really committed cosplayer. Leaving humans untrained would have been an extinction-level oops. Time froze and humanity got isekai'd. Bodies safe, minds training in mana bootcamp. The idea? Teach folks how to zap monsters before getting zapped themselves. Step 1 to survival. Gain XP, unlock skills, stay alive. He threw out the obvious question. Guns? Bombs? Nope. Monsters laughed off nukes like tickles. It finally clicked. Meanwhile, Lita made a case for divine kindness. This was Heaven's version of a group project. His focus shifted. Time to ask the real question. What about him? Surely he had a grand destiny too, right? Lita's response? A cosmic clerical error. His rage? Immediate and justified. Apparently he'd slipped through the cracks so quietly even God missed the memo. Portal? Long gone. And his face flushed, and he unleashed a rant questioning divine intelligence. Then came the tantrum, floor flailing included. Cosmic injustice was not on his bingo card. She offered a divine bonus. He wanted none of it, just a ticket to literally anywhere else. Her plan? Stay put, eat snacks, survive the apocalypse, others return in 10 years. The idea of solo mode for a decade hit like a cold shower. He stared blankly, wondering what to do with 10 years and no company. Her advice? Start training. His reaction? Train what exactly without mana? She smiled like a fitness coach. Start with push-ups. Mana can wait. His face said it all. This was not the hero arc he signed up for. He pushed one last time to join the others. Rejected again. Despair hit hard. He sobbed, screamed, and welcomed his solo apocalypse era with zero enthusiasm. His hometown looked post-apocalyptic, quiet, still, and hauntingly empty. Even China's busiest corners looked frozen in time, totally abandoned. Global landmarks stood eerie and tourist-free, like Earth hit pause worldwide. 5 silent years rolled by. Earth stayed empty, except for one stubborn straggler. One accidental straggler remained, living life in limbo while everyone else trained off-world. Rather than mope, he hit the gym like it was his full-time job. Day in, day out, squats, reps, gains. 5 years of solo beast mode. Meanwhile, the rest were off mastering mana like fantasy world pros. From all corners of the world, humanity trained for the monster showdown. At least he had a visiting angel for occasional company and sarcasm. She watched him with curiosity, baffled by his endless workout loop. 5 years of repetition? She couldn't wrap her wings around that. His look said it all. Was there another entertainment option around? She studied him quietly, filing away mental notes like a cosmic analyst. One glance at his biceps and even she had to admit, Ilhan was ripped. Most humans would have quit ages ago. He just kept grinding. She called him a natural-born outlier. He called it a cosmic accident. At this point, she was the only one he ever talked to. Weekly visits were the only break from his Groundhog Day routine. She didn't just swing by, she fed him too, angelic catering included. Every meal appeared like clockwork, fully set, hot, and probably 5-star. Honestly, it beat Mom's cooking. Not that he'd ever admit it out loud. Even cleanup was magic. Plates vanished the moment he was done. One day he declared fitness phase complete. Time to bring out the blades. She blinked. No teacher? He grinned. YouTube senseis would do. Power and Wi-Fi still worked. So he finally tackled that watch later list. It baffled him how the net never went down. She blamed pause time. He gave her the look. Really? That's your answer? Also weird? The sun never set. Eternal day was the new normal. He took his training outside, putting his freshly downloaded kung fu skills to the test. His weapon of choice, a humble stick, classic, cheap, and conveniently everywhere. He mimicked moves from martial arts tutorials like a student cramming before finals. Surprisingly, he moved like someone who'd been at it for years, not hours. The angel observed with that look mentors get when their student skips the basics. He chose to ignore the critique and kept swinging like his pride depended on it. Watching him go at it for 4 years straight was oddly impressive, even to her. She casually offered to spar, clearly eager to spice things up. He gawked at the idea of fighting her. She smirked and told him not to hold back. He hesitated, still stuck on the awkwardness of punching an angel. Then his tone flipped. He charged, fueled by years of pent-up isolation. She didn't even flinch, just casually launched him across the yard like a paper plane. She welcomed him to training mode. Fast progress, optional bruises included. He wasn't thrilled. A full decade zoomed by. She figured low-level monsters wouldn't stand a chance now. She called it training. He called it being mentally steamrolled with technique. She tuned out the complaints. He'd done well whether he admitted it or not. With change looming, they shook hands. Whether they'd meet again, that was on him. As Lita soared off, Ilhan waited eagerly for the world to resume. The reunion was close. He even dressed up, because apparently this needed a suit. After all that solitude, the idea of seeing actual humans again made him nervous. Saying goodbye to his celestial roommate was bittersweet, but overdue. Eyes closed, he braced for reality to snap back into motion. A beat passed, then another. Still nothing. Suspense turned into awkward silence. One eye peeked open, just to check if the world forgot to hit play. High above, Lita glanced back, curious to see if he was still standing there. She froze mid-flight. Something on the ground caught her completely off guard. There he was, still standing solo in the massive stadium, like a forgotten NPC. His scowl said it all. Someone owed him a serious explanation. She floated back with a guilty grin. He crossed his arms, clearly one breath away from a rant. Years of patience cracked, he finally snapped, frustration pouring out in full volume. Tears fell, not out of weakness but sheer exasperation. Waiting again felt like a cosmic prank. From then on, time zipped by like a fast-forward montage. A decade turned into 2. Loneliness was no longer a mood, it was a lifestyle. Half a century later, Earth still looked post-apocalyptic and very much uninhabited. With humans out of the picture, nature had gone full jungle mode. With no distractions, he defaulted back to the only thing left, relentless training. His strikes shattered stones like they were crackers. Progress, apparently. He stared at the hammer, maybe wondering if it had become part of him by now. Just then, Lita reappeared, radiating pride like a coach who knew he'd make varsity. Somewhere along decade 3, he'd stopped counting. Time had turned abstract. She noticed the slump in his shoulders. Something was definitely off. He didn't even look up. The words just dropped, quiet, heavy, and too honest. Her eyes lowered. No words could fix that kind of ache. The anger came back fast. 50 years of waiting boiled into a single outburst. Even martial arts, his old standby, had lost its spark. She pushed back. Danger was always looming, so breaks weren't on the schedule. Only now did she see it. He wasn't just tired. He was losing hope. He knew deep down, no more training manuals could fix what was missing. She refused to accept that he'd finally hit his breaking point. So she set her sights on cheering him up because people would return eventually. Ilhan had been glued to books for ages, modern tales, then straight into business buzz. Next came a buffet of knowledge. Science, history, geography, even a dab of fine art. Eventually, the library tapped out. Ilhan had devoured every last page. Mihis, with books behind him, languages beckoned. Travel plans were clearly forming. China came first, plenty to explore. Sometimes Lita tagged along, mostly curious. One country led to the next, Russia, America, everywhere. His language list grew fast. Somewhere in there, he casually finished reading most of the planet's books. Europe, Africa, the Middle East, he wandered, he read, he checked off continents. Eventually, he closed a final book and shrugged. What now? Even he wasn't sure. Lita gave him a side-eye. Wasn't he even a little worn out? He brushed it off. No time to be tired, not with Doomsday prep still on the list. Centuries ticked by, but he clung to the idea that humans might someday show up. Lita whispered silent prayers. Maybe the world would return before Ilhan wore out. Sunbeams spilled through the trees, like nature hadn't gotten the memo. A lone boar crashed through the brush, minding its own wild business. Then, wham, pain, a fall, and the forest quieted around one less boar. With reading mastered, Ilhan picked up tools. Time to forge and tan like a craftsman. He figured wild boar was a solid first project. Nothing too fancy, just hands-on. He tossed out a thought. If all animals were gone, would monsters even spawn? Lita set limits. Authorized hunts only, wipe out the wildlife, mess up the world. She started to say more, something about monsters, but trailed off mid-thought. He caught the hesitation, raised an eyebrow. She brushed it off. Maybe best to forget it. He shrugged, let it go, and got back to dressing the boar. Lita watched, mildly baffled. How did he manage to master everything? 274 years and counting. Even for an angel, that was a marathon. For a human, mind-blowing. His casual brag snapped her out of her daze. Apparently, confidence was part of the skill set. She had to admit it, he wasn't just good. He was absurdly good. The world stayed quiet. Just waves, wind, and the stubborn absence of humanity. Chilly air, thick jacket, and now a whale on the menu. His survival resume was getting intense. She flipped out over the whale. He casually suggested a moral blindfold. He dropped a Moby Dick line. She groaned. Zero audience, zero laughs. 3 years in, leatherwork was a breeze. Metal, not so much. Turns out, reading manuals is not the same as having a blacksmith yelling at you. One bad move, and hours of effort went down the forge drain. One off-swing, one shattered blade, and one internal insult to his own coordination. Early on, his swords had the lifespan of overcooked noodles. 5 whole years, and the final product barely qualified as sword-shaped. She peeked over, curious about this so-called masterpiece. She teased the blade's veggie-cutting potential. He just wanted his art returned. She refused. This glorified butter knife was now a keepsake. She reminded him, in her usual smug tone, that divine help wasn't free. She hugged that sword like it was a gold medal. Deep down, even she was floored by how far he'd come. Eventually, he tried making every weapon under the sun, just for fun. 50 years vanished into a blur of blades, spikes, and clangs. His stamina for improvement was endless. If it had a handle, he'd perfect it. With centuries to spare, he refined every strike until it felt just right. After centuries of swinging metal, it officially leveled up to blacksmith legend. 100 years in, the perfect spear was born, flawless, shiny, and very pointy. Even Lita had to admit it was the kind of weapon legends wrote songs about. She noted that better materials would come once wealth entered the equation. Stronger, shinier, maybe even magical. He shrugged. If better stuff showed up, he'd just build a new masterpiece. No big deal. She kept watching, endlessly impressed by his zero-quit attitude. Between forging and filleting, he found time to train like a battle maniac. The simulator became his world. Time? What's that? To her, he looked like human evolution on fast forward, with a millennium to spare. But even perfection had a limit. Eventually, the system had to crack. The thought of that moment made her wings twitch with unease. She figured a change of pace might save them both some sanity. It needed to be fresh, uncharted territory, ideally not involving swords. Romance popped into her head, and so did a brief mental rom-com starring herself. Then she snapped back, mortified. That wasn't in the Angel Handbook. Her own thoughts scandalized her. Divine beings weren't supposed to blush. Luckily, she could blame divine orders for sticking around. Totally professional. She silently vowed support, unaware he was already side-eyeing her weird vibes. Mid-hover, his voice yanked her out of her inner spiral. She played it cool. Nothing odd here, just angel things. She wasn't feeling especially divine, and definitely wasn't ready to unpack her daydream. Close enough to fog up each other's personal space. Tension? Just a little. He opened his mouth and she panicked. Was this her rom-com moment getting exposed? Turns out he was more focused on her suddenly flashy sword than emotional revelations. She stared at the glowing blade, confused and a little spooked. It definitely wasn't doing that before. Without warning, the sword decided it was tired of being sheathed and launched itself skyward. Her jaw dropped. That sword had never acted out before. The name clicked, and amazement hit. This wasn't just any blade. It was that blade. It's his very first sword. Too precious to lose, so she shot into the sky after it. He reached out to stop her, but she was already in mission mode, radio silence. Then everything around him shifted, like the world had hit rewind. A glance down revealed old clothes from a long-paused moment. Time was pulling tricks again. The simulator fizzled out, pixel by pixel, like a game logging off. It clicked. Reality was resetting itself, wiping the slate clean. High above, she pleaded with the powers that be to let her keep the relic. A brief glance down broke her focus, and that's when things went sideways. Her stomach dropped. Was this the start of a cosmic glitch? Below, Ilhan lost his footing and took off, unexpectedly airborne. One blink later, he was mid-air, utterly baffled by the sudden liftoff. She tried to call him back, but the moment had already slipped past. Everything moved too fast. No farewell, no closure, just a blur. At least his first sword stayed with her, a small, shining comfort. Somewhere along the way she'd grown fond of him, but their future felt uncertain. A divine being, sure, but also just a girl who caught feelings and never got that kiss. He watched her fade away and wondered, was this really how it ended? After all that time, not even a goodbye. Talk about an abrupt breakup. She reminded herself she was an angel. She had dignity, theoretically. A single hope crossed his mind. Maybe if he leveled up, they'd cross paths again. They drifted apart, hearts heavy but holding on to one last, maybe someday. And just like that, the world stirred. Cities would soon buzz with life once more. Mysterious lights flickered at the long, empty bus stop. Showtime. In a blink, the lights became people, as if nothing weird had just happened. Even the empty university lit up, magic clocking in for the next shift. Students and the teacher slid back into their seats like they'd never blinked out of existence. The dining hall filled up as if lunch rush had never paused. Confused glances bounced around the room. Clearly, no one got the memo. The courtyard buzzed with life, perfectly frozen in time from centuries ago. Ilhan stood still, eyes shut, letting it sink in. Finally, he wasn't alone anymore. When he opened his eyes, something odd hovered beside the crowd. A status screen popped up. Level 1, jobless, solo title, stealth maxed. Stats oddly accurate. One look at the screen and he knew something big had just kicked off. Other students were casually chatting about stat windows. Apparently only 10 years had passed. To them, just a decade. For him, an eternity. What kind of cosmic joke was this? Parallel world progress got wiped. Everyone's shiny skills reset like a cruel save file delete. He quietly tuned into the chatter, barely believing what he was hearing. Surrounded by people again, he felt weirdly out of place. Centuries of solitude didn't vanish overnight. No one noticed him. Stealth was still maxed out, evolving soon, but permanently passive. Great. He fiddled with it mentally. Nope, still stuck on ghost mode. Panic hit, he clutched his head, wishing the stealth switch had an off button. Was this his fate? Eternal invisibility with bonus loneliness? After centuries of waiting, it all felt pointless. Was he doomed to fly solo forever? With a sigh and a shrug, he gave up on answers and headed home. Passing the friendly banter, he felt the sting of being left out. Still, it was amazing. Streets filled with life after so long alone. Time rolled forward at last, painting the sky in warm sunset hues. Back at his apartment, he shut the door and exhaled. Finally, home. Then came a familiar voice calling his name, his mom. She rushed into the hallway, heart full, eyes searching for her long-lost son. He struggled to meet her eyes, having forgotten her face over the years. Without hesitation, he pulled his mom into a long-overdue hug. The hug flooded back memories from a lifetime apart. The sunset through the window added a warm, peaceful touch. Butter sizzled in the kitchen, filling the air with comforting smells. Dad sat reading the paper, everything feeling oddly normal again. He muttered about the lack of news from Haizia. Mom's surprised questions sparked memories. Their son noticed subtle changes. Dad praised Haizia but found no special trait. Mom admitted controlling Mana was tough. When asked where he'd been, he doubted he'd get a word in. He kept quiet about being abandoned. No need to cause worry. Instead, he said he'd been in a nameless town. Parents agreed mana control was hard. Mom questioned why even babies and elders had to train for 10 years. Ilhan explained the balance couldn't be broken, even if the method wasn't ideal. Their surprised expressions made him realize he'd said too much. Mom probed about balance and efficiency. He shrugged it off as a guess. Deciding to tread carefully, he braced for Mom's next question about his progress. Mom casually mentioned how mastering mana and selling monster parts brought money. Dad agreed such rare talent made fortunes. He found their gamer talk oddly amusing. After dinner, he set down chopsticks and prepared to drop some news. He finally admitted he couldn't control mana at all. Parents blinked in surprise. Mom masked it with a smile. Mom encouraged focus on studies. Dad blamed the genes since he struggled too. He felt relief at their calm reaction and let go of worry. Later, heading to his room, what he saw stopped him cold. A familiar spear leaned against the wall, his own creation, somehow still here despite everything else vanishing. Remembering Lita's care to protect that sword, he wondered if she'd crafted this spear too, feeling a mix of loss and hope. Holding the spear, he admired its flawless design. No need to hunt for another weapon against monsters. Suddenly, a status window popped up, rating the spear as a unique, mana-free marvel with impressive attack and decent durability. He was surprised by the stats but unsure if the spear was truly powerful. Deciding not to stress, he chose to dig up some useful info first. Online, he found a flood of fresh posts flooding in after his return. People had wasted no time sharing intel online since his otherworldly trip. He found it fascinating. His top priority, how to level up and beat monsters. Apparently, level 5 monsters were manageable by everyday folks. Back in the other world, level 7 marked rookie fighters. Level 10 unlocked classes like archer or swordsman. Level 50 was the milestone for getting a second-class upgrade. Hitting level 100 earned a rare third-class and national treasure status. The brutal grind meant no one made it to fourth class. Those were legendary dragon tier levels. Ellen figured the university would be the best place to dig up more details. Gazing out, he struggled to recall the last time he'd sat through classes. The world outside seemed unchanged, but he realized just how much he missed Lita. His gaze shifted to his forehead as a voice floated in, hinting she'd be pleased. Ilhan scanned the room nervously, searching for the mysterious speaker. The voice claimed a heavenly mission to guide him in mana control. He bristled, clearly annoyed by the unexpected visitor. Then he caught sight of her, an awe-inspiring presence. She insisted she wasn't an intruder at all. It turned out another angel had arrived to pay him a visit. The Celestial introduced herself simply as Eartha. Another unwanted visit? The protagonist sighed, clearly disappointed. Yet another divine messenger barged in, claiming mana control was tough and she was sent to help Ilhan. The tiny angel explained avatars trained for 10 years in other worlds to master mana. Ilhan remained unimpressed, thinking that approach hadn't worked for him. Eartha repeated her purpose. She was here to help. She confessed someone requested her aid for the struggling Ilhan. It wasn't fair to leave him alone. Lita insisted an angel help speed up his mana training. Lita's image flashed in his mind, proof she hadn't forgotten him. When Ilhan wondered why Lita didn't come, Eartha said angelic bosses worried about close bonds with humans. He accepted the explanation, secretly wishing for just one more meeting with Lita. Eartha noted he looked nothing like the Ilhan her friend described. Then her eyes flashed bright blue, catching him off guard. She scanned him, impressed by his surprisingly fit appearance. Eartha figured he didn't really need help. He could crush weak monsters barehanded. But she recalled Lita's plea. Ilhan had been alone a millennium and still couldn't use mana. Felt like a lost cause. Lita's face came to mind, looking like a kitten, begging for help. Eartha smirked, suspecting Lita played the innocent angel act well. With a sigh, Eartha accepted the mission, complimenting Ilhan's solid physical training. Her job was simple, teach him mana control. Ilhan looked lost, unsure how to begin this strange training. The tiny angel flew up and casually perched on his head. Eartha claimed just being near him would boost all his stats tenfold. Supreme creature perks. Apparently, a millennium with Lita didn't help. No catastrophes meant no progress. Eartha estimated this boost would last roughly a year. Annoyed by the angel on his head, Ilhan wondered if she planned to stay. She assured him she was enchanted and invisible to lesser beings. Ilhan worried how to shower or date with an angel stuck on his head. Eartha shrugged off privacy concerns. He just hoped for some bathroom privacy seemed like too much to ask. To Ilhan, the problem ran deeper than awkward showers. With Eartha always around, he couldn't freely access his digital hoard of treasures. Eartha didn't care about earthly matters and told him not to stress. Ilhan froze, realizing she could read his thoughts. She was indifferent to his quirks. Breakdancing, rumba, gaming, no judgment here. Surprised, Ilhan asked how she knew about his hobbies. Eartha smirked, claiming higher beings just don't care. He wasn't convinced. Ilhan secretly wished for Lita's return, but it was Eartha and him for the next year. Morning came, and Ilhan headed back to university. His first training hike in a millennium. Eartha settled on his head, invisible to everyone else. Ilhan wondered if she planned to stay perched all day. She assured him she was unseen and ignored, but he begged her to stop swinging her feet in his face. He couldn't tell if Eartha was mocking him or just messing around. Military folks passed by, a reminder of the ongoing tension. Normal life still felt out of reach. Reality was grim. The army readied itself for monsters. Ilhan doubted the army's chances. Only Mana, Lita said, could truly fight monsters. He arrived at the university, wondering how long it had been since he'd sat in class. Among students, Ilhan felt invisible, ignored completely. Frustrated, he opened the system menu, hunting for a way to disable stealth mode. No luck, he couldn't turn it off, and frustration showed. Eartha considered the stealth a neat bonus, nothing to complain about. They exchanged silent thoughts. Ilhan grumbled that it felt more like a loser's curse. Ilhan overheard students debating their barely earned skills. Curious, Ilhan asked Eartha to explain the chatter. Eartha clarified it was a mix of tiny mana and minimal fighting practice. Students hunted for any edge to fight monsters. Ilhan noticed Eartha's total human side-eye. Eartha claimed even all human skills combined couldn't match Ilhan's stealth. She called his skill decent, though Ilhan still felt like a loser. Ilhan glanced wistfully at classmates already wielding mana. He realized his stealth let him spy unnoticed like a ghost. Frustration faded, now info was at his fingertips. A whispered rumor about a mysterious Empress girl grabbed his attention. Her identity was a mystery, but everyone expected to learn soon. Ilhan guessed the Empress earned her title by shining abroad. Students buzzed about dungeons, doubtful they'd ever reach them. Ilhan recalled their tough restrictions. Ilhan quickly asked Eartha to define a dungeon. She called it a real trap, a revelation to Ilhan. The trap was divine-made, filled with real monsters. God baits the dungeon with food to gather monsters. Once crowded, God seals them in tight. Humans can come and go if qualified, using dungeons as semi-safe hunting grounds. Ilhan wondered why monsters weren't locked in forever. Eartha said dungeons expire, so timely cleanup is essential. Some clever monsters evade or even destroy these traps. Some monsters set traps of their own, so vigilance is key, Eartha warned. Just then the instructor entered, silencing the room instantly. The professor began by calling roll, names echoing through the room one by one. The lecture veered off topic, stressing the need to adapt to a rapidly shifting world. Global powers banned free mana use, cracked down on raising Romans, and watched monsters reshape the world. The professor droned on about Korea's uncertain fate, while Ilhan just wished for some actual studying. Ilhan doubted the value of his pricey degree in this unpredictable new era. He figured mana skills would outshine any paperwork soon, once they made it part of the curriculum. Eartha insisted monster hunting was top-tier training. Ilhan naturally preferred to stay safe. The angel reassured that monsters were weak now, perfect for leveling up mana skills. Ilhan pointed out his 0 mana level, unable to use any skills just yet. Eartha hesitated mid-reply, clearly reconsidering her words. Finally, she praised Ilhan's physical strength, enough to tackle lower-level monsters. Ilhan was more surprised than scared by this unexpected compliment. Feigning ignorance about his strength, he caught Eartha off guard. Suddenly, Eartha spotted a lucky opportunity. She told Ilhan practice time was officially on. Eyes from every corner turned to the window in unison. Ilhan joined the crowd, peering out to see what stirred the commotion. The courtyard swarmed with massive, unsettling insects. Fear rippled through the crowd. Disaster had officially arrived. Ilhan's mix of anticipation and dread finally met reality. Time had run out. Monsters were spilling across the earth. Even battle-hardened Eartha looked caught off guard. Eartha declared training done. Now survival was humanity's responsibility. Students whispered frantic questions, where to go, what to do, and why no help yet. A call to band together was met with wide-eyed fear instead. Through the window, the first victim fell to the monsters, sparking fear. Panic hit the crowd hard. A chaotic scramble for escape erupted instantly. Everyone fled except Ilhan, frozen in place with an angel perched on his head. Tears welled up as Ilhan felt abandoned again. Eartha quipped, unsurprised by his reaction. He shook it off fast, eyes darting around, ready to face what was next. Eartha asked about fighting. Ilhan sized up the monsters as less threatening than a whale. Eartha explained monsters weren't normal animals. Their tough skin and strength were no joke. He reassured the weakest monsters wouldn't pose trouble. Ilhan grabbed a wooden chair leg as a weapon. He swung the stick around, deciding it was good enough for now. Eartha noted his strong spirit and muscles, confident he'd manage up to level 25 monsters. Ilhan stayed focused, practicing precise swings with his makeshift weapon. His energy was so intense, Eartha struggled to perch steadily on his head. Spotting flaws, Ilhan upgraded the stick with spare parts, pleased with the result. Eartha wondered if Ilhan had craft skills. He smiled, admitting lots of free time fueled his handiwork. Eartha recalled Ilhan's abilities, insisting he couldn't be left alone again, though the angel thought she might be overdoing it. His skill came from brutal training, but his only regret was not bringing his spear along. Reaching this level as a beginner showed clear talent and dedication. Ilhan worried his disguise wouldn't hold under attention. Eartha said a simple mask would do. Outside, monsters wrecked the courtyard, slicing the professor's monument right down the middle. The creatures looked like giant mantises, but far tougher and meaner. Ilhan stopped hesitating and launched an airborne attack on the first monster. Mask in place, he gripped 4 homemade wooden spears tightly. His strikes were sharp. A leap onto the monster's neck brought it down. Skill took over next. One kill boosted Ilhan's stamina to level 3, raised mana, strength, and agility. Taijutsu maxed out. Evolution was now possible. Unlocking a level 13 Greater Mantis entry, Ilhan marveled at his progress, feeling genuinely proud. There were levels tracked in Akasha's chronicles, rewarding not just experience, but also the defeated monster's future potential. Ilhan spotted his mana increase and couldn't hide a small smile of satisfaction. Eartha teased about enjoying violence. Ilhan seemed amused, confident she'd understand someday. Suddenly, Ilhan was boxed in by a new wave of unfamiliar monsters. Without pause, he grabbed a fresh spear, ready for the fight. He realized there were no fancy skills for battling multiple foes at once. The angel advised trusting instincts. Things would sort themselves out. Taking the hint, Ilhan charged headfirst into the fray. His strike cleaved the monster's tough armor cleanly in two. Victory brought 700 XP. Spear Mastery maxed out. Evolution unlocked. Level 11 hit with a new Big Fly entry, boosting all stats by 1. Eartha's warning came just in time. Enemies swooped in from above. Ilhan glanced up, spotting a swarm of fast-approaching flying foes. No time to think, Ilhan sprang up like a lightning bolt. Another kill earned 400 XP and logged a level 7 Big Mosquito. Just as one fell, another appeared sneaking up behind him. The mosquito cornered Ilhan, trapping him with no clear escape. The giant mosquito's sting aimed at his chest, but oddly bent away. Eartha was stunned. Ilhan's training had made him immune to mosquito stings. Calm and unshaken, Ilhan swiftly neutralized the threat. The angel thought Ilhan had pushed human limits beyond belief. With that threat down, Ilhan pressed on with his monster hunt. Each kill flashed system messages as his experience steadily grew. Suddenly, a giant mantis appeared right in front of him like a ghost. Faster than Ilhan, the mantis swung a lethal strike. Ilhan barely dodged. An unlucky ant wasn't so lucky under the blade. The Celestial warned. More monsters were closing in fast. Ilhan suddenly found himself swarmed by all kinds of creepy insects. He couldn't help but feel grossed out just looking at the swarm. He joked silently that for bug control, Korea's Sesko had nothing on him. Launching into the air, he wielded 2 spears fast. Level 6 hit, stamina, strength, mana up 1, dexterity jump by 2. Suddenly, an unexplainable flash struck behind him like lightning. Invisible forces seemed to smash monsters, silently backing his survival. Ilhan paused, bewildered by the unseen help unfolding. Turning, he spotted a girl radiating strong mana nearby. She wore casual student clothes, but a mysterious forehead jewel caught attention. Ilhan recognized the mage, wondering who she was, while Eartha urged focus on the fight. The girl unleashed her own energy, effortlessly annihilating nearby monsters. The angel noted her insane mana. No wonder she kept blasting lightning. Ilhan guessed she was leveling up too. At last the final monster fell. He scored 1250 XP, hitting level 7. Nearby students gawked wide-eyed at the epic showdown. Ilhan finally caught his breath. Handling so many low-level monsters was quite the debut. Suddenly, an army stormed the courtyard. One soldier apologized for their stuck vehicle. Moments later, the squad leader froze, stunned by the scene before him. The leader couldn't believe their help was unnecessary despite reports of insect monsters. What just happened? Meanwhile, Ilhan inspected insect remains, hoping to find a legendary stone of 4 souls. Eartha hinted at cutting carcasses to find mana stones, info that sparked Ilhan's curiosity. She explained mana hid in the toughest bones and guided him to the spot. Ilhan followed her lead. The military was dumbfounded by Ilhan's solo skill against the monsters. The mysterious girl who'd helped smiled quietly, saying nothing. With Eartha's help, Ilhan retrieved the mana stone. The angel noted it as the core material for all items. Ilhan zoned out briefly, then froze when he realized a crowd had formed around him. Students swarmed, phones out, recording every move like a live concert. His disguise promised invisibility, but the sudden attention left him awkward and flustered. A mage girl stepped forward, clearly about to speak. Her glowing, oversized eyes gave off an otherworldly vibe that made Ilhan do a double take. She casually tucked hair behind her ear and requested his help. A first meeting with the Empress. Ilhan was momentarily speechless, caught off guard by her request. His mind went blank, like a buffering screen. He snapped out of it, asking what the payoff would be. She offered a cut 30 to 40% for his assistance. Without missing a beat, he agreed not to work. The crowd buzzed with disbelief. Was that really the Empress? How did she get this strong overnight? A warning spread. Keep distance, she might zap anyone nearby. While dissecting carcasses, Ilhan realized the rumors were true. She was powerful. Nearby whispers questioned who he was, claiming he shot rays from his hand. A lightsaber kill rumor he secretly wished were true. Eartha noted his stealth was solid, good enough to erase memories of him. That sting made him quietly sad. He dug into the carcasses with renewed focus, hunting for mana stones. The Empress approved. The mana stone's purple glow screamed magic. Ilhan signaled Eartha it was time to wrap things up and leave. Their exit was blocked by the military, eager for answers. The squad leader started to demand something, but never finished. Suddenly, lightning struck the leader squarely in the back. The Empress stepped in, diverting the army's focus from Ilhan. Her smiling mask made her emotions impossible to read. Students admired her cool aura, and a few crush-struck guys hoped for even a spark from the Empress. Ilhan sensed it was time to leave before the situation spiraled out of control. Eartha seemed calm, but the crowd quickly wondered where the masked guy had vanished to. Ilhan waved, unseen, as students spun tales about his lightning-fast disappearance. He appeared a bit down, though Eartha thought the exit was perfect. Despite things being fine, Ilhan felt an unexpected pang of sadness. Evening found him homeward bound, pausing thoughtfully at the playground. Studying insect parts, he revealed plans to craft armor, sparking Eartha's curiosity. Full armor was tricky. He aimed to shield at least his limbs. Eartha warned monster materials were tough and suggested finding a true master craftsman. Ilhan grinned. Wasn't he the planet's top craftsman already? Eartha recalled her friend's pitying words and chuckled at how wrong Lita was. She hid her face. He caught the thought and smiled back. Secretly, Eartha suspected the girlfriend was a total trickster. She mused that Ilhan was, in some ways, a crafty cheat himself. Eartha probed whether Ilhan knew about monocraft. He admitted the term was new but sounded intriguing. Eartha smiled, no surprise, since he never had it before. Ilhan grabbed Eartha's attention, deciding this skill was a must-learn. She agreed to teach, once he stopped shaking her like a rag doll. Ilhan apologized, realizing he'd been a handful. Eartha figured she still needed to adjust to his energy. She launched into an explanation of mana crystals that resembled gems. These gems could forge enchanted weapons and armor. It was blacksmithing leveled up, with mana infused. Ilhan grabbed Eartha again, practically begging to learn monocraft. Eartha barely held back a grin, reminding him she'd already promised to teach him despite his playful slap. She joked about sending sweet words to Lita in heaven, leaving Ilhan curious but speechless. Eartha silently judged Lita for not watching her boyfriend, but wisely kept it to herself around Ilhan. The lesson went on. First, gather materials and special mana crystals before crafting armor. She mentioned a dragon's heartstone, which left Ilhan momentarily baffled. Quickly recovering, he thought a dragon's heart sounded like epic game loot. The magic stone had to be placed nearby since then forging could begin. Once forged, the stone was ground down and applied to the item's surface. The resulting sand formed the item's magical base layer. Crafting ended here, transforming the item into something magical. Eartha wrapped up, noting this gear boosted attack by 30 and defense by 50. Ilhan was thrilled it sounded easy. Eartha clarified this just improved stats. She added a tougher advanced crafting that granted new abilities. Eartha thought this level was way harder to master. Ilhan's current mana wasn't enough to pull it off. After a brief pause, he smiled and insisted on hearing more. No risk, no reward. She explained that imbuing items with powers required channeling mana into the stone. Eartha warned if mana drained too fast, the magic would fail. Properly charged stones could craft dream weapons shooting ice or fire. That armor could also restore stamina mid-fight, but required skill, willpower, and quality mana stones. Ilhan recognized strong will was key and decided to give it a shot. He dove into work, while Eartha observed, impressed by his nimble fingers. Soon enough, arm and leg armor stood finished. The system confirmed his manacraft skill unlocked. Eartha marveled at his natural talent. Ilhan joked about mastering theory but still needing practice. Eartha silently wished he'd kept quiet. It sounded cooler that way. Eartha admitted silently he was right. His quick grasp showed real talent for adapting fast. If Ilhan kept this pace, incredible power wasn't far off. Eartha wondered what else he'd do with leftover magic stone. Ilhan smirked. There was more to come. He focused, sensing mana and magic stone, eyes shut tight as he got to work. The stone fragments in his palm glowed brilliantly. Something extraordinary was happening. Eartha doubted his chances. Advanced form without mana control seemed hopeless. She noticed his strained expression. This kind of magic was seriously draining. Suddenly, a weapon took shape mid-air, sharp, sleek, like a mantis scythe. The magic stone shards still sparkled faintly in his hand. Eartha felt certain he wasn't about to fail after coming this far. But Eartha eyed his empty palm, knowing the magic stone alone wouldn't cut it. Throwing caution aside, she slipped a drop of her mana into the mix. The stone's fragments morphed into a dazzling gem with sparkling facets. Ilhan stared in disbelief at his glowing palm. Confused but mesmerized, he couldn't tear his gaze away. Lost in thought, he missed the powerful energy spiraling around him. His handmade armor shimmered, transforming right before his eyes. Eartha worried it looked like a failure. Her mana hadn't done enough. Meanwhile, Ilhan's smile grew wide. He knew it had worked. The system confirmed, Monocraft leveled up. The armor settled onto his arm perfectly. Outside on the playground, real magic was unfolding. Ilhan tested his creation. The mantis scythe sliced through metal chains like paper. Delight filled his eyes. He'd crafted exactly what he imagined. Eartha was stunned, just added the mantis skill to his armor. Ilhan broke the silence with urgency. Time was ticking. Eartha admitted she chipped in with mana, but was amazed he crafted the item on his first try. Ilhan, however, had different plans altogether. Ilhan broke the swing. Time to make a quick escape from the playground. Eartha offered healing magic and firmly told her apprentice to stop right there. News buzzed about two mysterious men who crushed monsters and vanished. Authorities scrambled to find these unknown heroes. The two Song University students wiped out the monsters and vanished. Ilhan heard the news and told his parents he had to head to class. His mom looked worried and suggested he skip school for the day. On TV, authorities dubbed extraordinary individuals as superpower users, with mana levels off the charts. Mom instincts upgraded to pro level, tracking her son non-stop. She fretted over the monster-filled outside world. Ilhan realized Mom's watch was relentless, no peace in his room. He reassured her to run if monsters showed up. The announcer detailed plans for a government squad of top-tier mana users, led by superpowered elites. Mom urged caution. Ilhan promised to be careful and warned her to stay indoors. Ilhan opted for a walk, heading to the university on foot. He grumbled to Artie about barely escaping the house. Ilhan was baffled by Mom's tracking skill. Eartha guessed it was to keep tabs on him. Eartha compared it to penguin moms always hearing their chicks, a survival skill, plain and simple. As a teenager, Ilhan wasn't thrilled about his mom's constant supervision. Eartha caught his expression and guessed the truth. He'd be shocked if Mom ever missed a thing, especially since even God seemed to have overlooked him, a lingering sting he carried. Changing gears, Eartha asked his thoughts on the government's new elite mana squad. Ilhan calmly dismissed it. No interest in government work, family always came first. Eartha agreed, better to keep freedom and dodge needless restrictions. Walking to campus, Ilhan chose to share a secret with Eartha. He admitted quietly he wanted to see the Empress once more. Eartha's disappointment showed. Had he fallen for her, a real man's crush? Ilhan quickly denied it. Since the disaster, love and treasure had no place in his life. Saying it aloud made Ilhan worry about impotence, and Eartha didn't help by teasing him further. Eartha pointed out that intense training can sometimes lower libido. Ilhan blushed furiously, vehemently denying the accusation. Outsiders would find his one-sided argument odd. After all, no one else could see Eartha. Luckily, Ilhan's invisibility saved him from public embarrassment, as Eartha joked about shouting nonsense unnoticed. He grumbled inwardly, unsure if his power was more blessing or curse. After a deep breath, Ilhan revealed a guess about the situation's cause. Lita, who eased his millennium of loneliness, came to mind as the reason behind it all. Eartha quipped he'd lost interest in ordinary women after 1,000 years basking in angelic beauty, hence the impotence. Ilhan scoffed but refocused, curious how the Empress mastered mana control so impressively. Though Ilhan had leveled up, he still struggled with his power, unlike the Empress, whose skills amazed him. Eartha explained it made sense. God had sent many for training in another world. Everyone except Ilhan, whose existence was concealed from the universe. Yoo Ilhan, monster slayer with bare hands, stood out as truly unique. Suddenly, Eartha paused mid-sentence, sensing something unusual. Ilhan caught her odd hesitation and inquired what was up. Eartha warned of a nearby pack, 70 wolves and wild dogs, led by a fearsome level 35 diamond wolf. Ilhan was caught off guard. Such news was far from what he'd expected. He blasted Eartha, reminding her she'd promised no powerful monsters would show up anytime soon. Eartha crossed her arms, admitting she'd noticed odd monster swarms since yesterday, too soon after the disaster. Ilhan frowned, wondering why she kept this from him yesterday. Eartha brushed him off, claiming she didn't want to burden lower creatures with her worries. Ilhan mused how different Eartha was from Lita, much colder and distant. Eartha carried herself like a privileged socialite, always drawing sharp lines between high and low. Lita, on the other hand, felt a bit goofy but warm, like an older sister. Tears welled in Ilhan's eyes, the ache of missing her hitting hard. Eartha cleared her throat, ready to be straightforward. Ilhan glanced up, curious about what was coming next. Eartha's tone turned grave. Earth was off balance, strange things stirring, and she needed Ilhan's help. Ilhan froze, stunned by the news, words failing him. His mind blanked out, the unknown looming frighteningly. Eartha urged haste, promising to fill him in while moving. Ilhan asked for the path to the monsters. Eartha told him to move ahead. God sent people through disasters to other worlds for mana training. Meanwhile, Earth's animals had been left behind, alone for ages. Gods assumed decades would pass harmlessly for the beasts. Turns out, even gods make mistakes sometimes. A time glitch warped Earth's flow. 10 years elsewhere equaled 1,000 on Earth. Ilhan recalled waiting a decade, hoping for people to come back. Lita stayed by his side through the millennia, making time slip by unnoticed. Eartha snapped Ilhan out of his thoughts. They had to turn right. Ilhan complied, jokingly warning her not to pull his hair. Eartha kept explaining, despite the disaster, animals lived 1,000 years, making changes inevitable. Ilhan rounded the corner and froze. A wolf pack stood right before him. Eartha finished, warning Earth's monsters had grown far stronger than elsewhere. Wolves with bloody jaws convinced Ilhan Earth's fate looked grim. Eartha stressed why Yoo Ilhan's help was crucial. She believed the heavens aimed to restore balance, but it wouldn't be quick. Until then, it was their job to destroy monsters, with rewards matching their success, Eartha concluded. Without waiting, 2 monsters lunged, interrupting their talk with attack. Ilhan quickly donned armor and grabbed his spear, though the effort felt heavier than expected. Eartha watched silently as the wolves fixated on their target, unblinking and deadly. She admitted the danger was undeniable, but they had no choice but to fight. Ilhan stepped forward, launching himself downward, crashing onto the wolves below. The wolves scattered like leaves in a storm. Ilhan's attack packed serious power. One strike and a dozen wolves lay defeated. Impressive, even for him. Ilhan leveled up to 9, gaining 12,904 XP, a new level 35 wolf entry, and boosted stats all around. Eartha couldn't hide her amazement. Her ward kept outdoing himself every day. She wondered if he was a glutton for punishment, always chasing tougher challenges. She accidentally voiced the thought, and Ilhan immediately denied being a masochist. Just then, a fierce growl snapped behind him. Ilhan's reflexes kicked in, and as he turned, the dogs scattered in all directions. The system chimed in, level 18 no shelter dog detected. He caught a brief breath, though the fight raged all around. Monsters prowled city streets with desperate cries echoing from every corner. Bystanders attempted fireball attacks, but their efforts fizzled out. Ilhan's mana was drained. Frozen by fear, he watched the monster close in. Spotting danger, Ilhan dashed to rescue the man from the wolf pack. The massive beasts roared, eyes glowing red, locking onto Ilhan like prey. Ilhan launched into the air, weapon ready, striking first against the wolves. Meanwhile, another monster caught an unlucky passerby off guard. The man braced for the worst, eyes shut tight, then nothing. Slowly, he dared to open his eyes. The wolf lay dead, impaled by Ilhan's spear standing over him. A system message popped up. Ilhan had to pick a class to pass level 10, with captured entries influencing his options. The system hinted entries might unlock chances. Passers-by spotted the masked hero, instantly recognizing him as the university savior. Moore nodded, recalling how he vanished the moment the military arrived. Ilhan frowned at the unwanted fame and the nickname Sungame Bolt. Eartha teased him for gaining fans, blending university athlete names. He kept slaying wolves while exchanging playful jabs with Eartha. Fame didn't sit well with Ilhan, who grumbled about these so-called fans. Ilhan wished for peace, clearly embarrassed. Eartha smiled, amused by his shame. Distracted by system alerts, Ilhan wondered why his levels still hadn't budged despite all the kills. The system clarified, choosing a class was the key to leveling up. Ilhan scratched his head as a wolf howled skyward, puzzled by the sudden change in the battlefield. Before he knew it, Ilhan found himself surrounded by a dozen snarling foes. Eartha warned the monsters seemed coordinated. Ilhan questioned if they were actually smart. He weighed options. Retreat meant losing ground, defense risked getting bitten. After a moment, he chose offense over defense. The choice paid off. Experience points flooded in, boosting him by 2,500. Just as he felled a few foes, a wolf lunged from behind. Ilhan's reflexes saved him, meeting the attack head-on without missing a beat. His spear swung wide, sending wolf blood flying everywhere. He noticed the monsters showed no signs of shrinking. It looked like the wolves kept calling backup, like a disciplined pack on duty. Still, Ilhan stayed determined, soon having 2 more monsters down. Onlookers were amazed. How could one guy take down 5 wolves so fast? Suddenly, a chilling growl rose behind the crowd. Heads turned to a huge wolf eyeing humans like a dinner menu. Under the beast's paw lay a man, face pressed to the ground. Ilhan asked if the man was a hostage. Eartha confirmed, noting the monster's cruel habit. Ilhan smiled with quiet resolve, doubting it would change much, but determined nonetheless. He understood only he could face these wolves. The job fell squarely on his shoulders. The hostage trembled, eyes wide with fear beneath the monster's paw. The crowd buzzed, eager to see Sungame Bolt in action, phone flashes lighting up the scene like a concert. Eartha warned that his next move could make him a hero or a villain. Ilhan couldn't care less about titles or public opinion, focused only on the fight. No time for chat, Ilhan charged at the wolf without hesitation. The wolf's head flew off, freeing the hostage as Ilhan's system announced a 6,700 XP boost and a new level unlocked. The wolves lost their edge but still snarled. Ilhan vowed to save anyone in danger, no superhero fantasies needed. He admitted limits and refused the hero label, insisting he was just an ordinary guy doing his best. Eartha rolled her eyes at his rambling. Ilhan shrugged off distractions. He'd nailed his first speech, no need for repeats. Sizing up the pack, Ilhan realized they'd strike simultaneously, thinking he was defenseless. Cracking his knuckles, Ilhan readied himself to handle the next wave. The giant wolf yawned wide, like it wanted to swallow Ilhan in one bite. Ilhan wasn't about to let the wolves think his spear was his only trick. He prepared to show off some serious martial arts skill. Settling into stance, Ilhan looked ready to take on any number of foes. Eartha observed quietly. Ilhan wasn't about reckless self-sacrifice. His calm, swift decisions made him far more efficient than most fighters. Eartha thought to her friend Lita, acknowledging Ilhan as quite the formidable fighter. Lita watched, baffled yet genuinely impressed by his smooth combat style. It dawned on her that this skill was all Ilhan's own hard work. The crowd cheered, amazed at his strength, chanting Sungame Bolt's name and admiring his raw power. With a sharp palm strike, Ilhan landed a perfect hit between a wolf's eyes. Only once the last beast fell did Ilhan finally take a deep breath. Just when Ilhan thought it was over, another surprise awaited him. Suddenly, a soldier aimed an automatic rifle at Ilhan's head, ordering him to freeze. Caught off guard, Ilhan carefully turned to face the soldier. Ilhan found himself surrounded by an entire unit, dozens of guns trained on him. The crowd erupted in protest, questioning why the army aimed weapons at their hero. The squad leader appeared baffled, struggling to believe a single man could slay so many wolves. She muttered disbelief. Defeating all those monsters alone seemed impossible. Soon the area was cordoned off with yellow police tape, blocking curious onlookers. The squad leader apologized to Ilhan, asking him not to take their actions the wrong way. She explained they never intended to shoot, just worried about lingering monsters, and was glad it ended peacefully. The lieutenant informed Ilhan that an entire army unit was searching for him. A soldier reported that Ilhan had slipped away once more. No one seemed to catch him. Frustrated, the lieutenant shouted about his speed, unaware he was actually close but hidden. Moving away from the squad, Ilhan impaled a wolf with his spear, thinking a knife for cleanup might be handy after finding a suitable spot. Suddenly visible again, Ilhan heard a soldier call out, surprised he hadn't vanished completely. A lieutenant approached, expecting cooperation, but Ilhan wasn't interested in prolonging the chat. She pressed about grudges, but Ilhan calmly stated his loyalty, cheering for Korea in sports. The lieutenant proposed an alliance, but Ilhan politely declined. Disappointed by the refusal, she sought reasons. Ilhan ignored her questions, covering a wolf's wound with a steady hand. Ilhan bristled at the thought of endless questions and duties if he agreed. Eartha sensed his annoyance. The inability to have peace with his own thoughts grated on him. Eartha dismissed his mental grumbling, while the lieutenant never took her eyes off Ilhan. Eartha agreed. It was smarter to avoid teaming with the army or government, who lacked his skill. Ilhan silently concurred, convinced his best path was solo. Ilhan glanced over the pile of slain wolves, pausing as an idea formed. He realized hauling all the bodies alone would be a serious hassle. Nearby, the lieutenant grumbled about being ignored, blaming her uniform for the silence. Frustration hit hard, making her consider quitting the service altogether. Just then, Ilhan approached. The lieutenant smiled, convinced he was ready to cooperate. Ilhan proposed selling the wolf carcasses instead, figuring selling beats lugging them around. Confused at first, the subordinate whispered a tip. Monster bodies fetch a good price. The army quickly accepted, eager for a lucrative deal. She inquired about the mana stones, but Ilhan politely declined to sell those. Curiosity piqued, she insisted on inspecting the goods first. She was amazed. The wolves' skins and bones were nearly perfect thanks to his precise kills. The lieutenant recalled how gunshots ruined materials, making them unusable later. Watching Ilhan work was impressive. His skinning skills were fast and flawless. She pulled out her phone, capturing every expert move on video. After sending the clip, a quick call came through. Ilhan's skills stunned her contact. The voice on the other end ordered Lieutenant Han to bring Ilhan in immediately. She reported Ilhan's refusal, but higher-ups weren't ready to accept it. Frustration showed on her face after the call ended. Meanwhile, Ilhan continued separating the wolf carcasses with steady hands. Ilhan guessed her next move. She wanted money up front. She exhaled deeply, promising to report their deal to her superiors. Ilhan felt relief wash over him, glad the negotiation was done. He examined his palm, thankful for the stash of mana stones he'd collected. Ilhan joked to Eartha that the mana stones looked like tasty chocolates. Eartha warned against eating them, fearing a dangerous rage, but Ilhan had already popped them into his mouth. Eartha sensed someone was bound to eat the stones and unleash a monstrous rage. The lieutenant quickly reported up the chain, pitching a 37 million won cash offer to Ilhan. Eartha noted the army's generosity. It was clear they wanted to keep good terms. The lieutenant tried her charm offensive, recalling better days when she turned heads outside the uniform. Ilhan ignored the flirtation completely, walking off without a glance back. Not pleased, the lieutenant tried to block his path. A glowing pulse sparked in Ilhan's palm as he pressed a red button. Bright flashes blinded the lieutenant, forcing her to shield her eyes. Nearby soldiers were blinded too. Once their vision cleared, Ilhan had vanished without a trace. Unseen but close, Ilhan listened silently, invisible once more. Eartha guessed he'd used a device to trigger stealth, curious about where it came from. Ilhan dodged explanations, focusing on a quick escape before Heaven's investigation, and the likely monster trouble ahead. The lieutenant stewed over her failed charm offensive. Ilhan strolled calmly toward the house, briefcase of cash in hand, with Eartha by his side. Once safely distant, Ilhan checked his progress and rewards. It was time to pick his first class. The class list read like a familiar game: Lancer, Grappler, Swordsman, and more. He decided to skip Assassin for now, already stealthy enough to nearly vanish. Eartha explained the stealth was always active due to aura issues. No mana cost, but no control either. With 23 classes to choose from, Ilhan turned to Eartha for advice. Eartha was amazed that in just 2 days, 23 classes had appeared in the system. She noted with a smile that more time would reveal 30 or 40 classes total. Pausing thoughtfully, she considered the best recommendation. She suggested the Lancer class, matching his spear skills. Grappler was another solid pick, given his hand-to-hand and spear expertise. Ilhan recalled starting the training on Lita's recommendation. He remembered Eartha's praise for his rapid improvement. Once, Eartha applauded his 3-minute endurance, a new personal best. Ilhan joked about learning through Lita's slaps. Eartha reminded him how rare angel-taught lessons were. Ilhan grumbled about being unlucky and stranded on Earth. Eartha accepted it as fate. Eartha reassured him his level would rise in time. She mentioned future chances to unlock second and third subgrades. Ilhan wondered aloud about second classes, puzzled by the lack of online info. Eartha dismissed social media as a time sink with no useful answers. Ilhan asked if Eartha had bad internet experiences. She coyly declined to say. He found it odd angels might avoid social networks. After hesitating, Ilhan nearly picked Swordsman, pressing 3. Last second, he switched gears, settling on Lancer instead. Eartha was curious about his reasoning. Ilhan argued weapon power mattered most, so wielding a spear beat hand-to-hand fighting. Eartha praised his logic, adding better materials would upgrade his spears. Though Eartha had considered Lancer herself, Ilhan chose it independently, sure to grow stronger over time. Suddenly, a surprise message popped up, catching Ilhan off guard. Eartha inquired, and Ilhan noted a fresh option had just appeared. The list now showed a new entry, Blood Lancer. Eartha explained the new modification birthed a unique profession, rare to get from the start. Ilhan looked confused, unsure what the new class meant. Eartha clarified it was a custom class tailored to him alone. His journey, feats, and records all shaped this unique class. Max stealth skill unlocked the chance to evolve into this class. Eartha urged him to pick it instantly. It was the best fit, made just for him. The class demanded more experience but promised great value. With a decisive press, Ilhan picked option 24 and sealed his choice. A message popped up. He'd become a blurred spearman, boosting spear and stealth attacks by 10%. with eased skill progression. Experience flooded in, leveling him to 18. Strength, health, mana, and dexterity all got healthy bumps. Realization hit. He picked Blurred Spearman, not Bloodlancer. The words looked and sounded identical in Korean, leading to the mix-up. Ilhan's annoyance flared, frustrated by the tricky word's similarity that fooled him. Even Eartha hadn't caught the mix-up. Ilhan grumbled silently, wishing he'd known beforehand. Eartha couldn't help but note the fitting irony in his choice. Ilhan opened his mouth, then stopped mid-thought, feeling oddly unsettled. Suddenly, system updates flashed right before his eyes. His chest and abs bulked up instantly, biceps swelling. Power surged from within, undeniable and strong. Ilhan noticed his changed body. Eartha explained first class came with muscle upgrades, and the choice was locked in. Staring at the screen, disbelief settled in. This felt unreal. His status read, Blurred Lancer, level 18, Panka's Mystic Loner title, high stats, max stealth skill, and some mana crafting. The unchanged loner title made him wonder if solitude was his lifelong fate. Eartha checked if he gained active skills. He hadn't. She reassured that most first-class players lack active skills, but his mana growth looked slow, even for second class. The risk wasn't lost on Ilhan. Eartha's words confirmed his worries. Then, Eartha teased it'd be true only if he were ordinary. She settled atop his head, ready to spill more info. Eartha explained the plan. No skill now, but by third class, accumulated records would unlock a powerful skill. Ilhan smiled, realizing he'd trade several small skills for one mighty one. Eartha nodded in agreement. Eartha mused that 2 active skills were expected with a unique profession, yet he had none so far. Combining tough records before third class promised an epic skill down the line. Smiling to herself, Eartha found Ilhan the first inferior worth her attention. Without warning, Eartha tugged his hair, steering him exactly where she wanted. Ilhan reached for his money suitcase, but Eartha revealed it was magically hidden. His real task now, start hunting monsters as an agent. Eartha yanked his hair again, prompting an annoyed reaction. She clearly had a different agenda. Checking his phone, Ilhan spotted countless other agents also on the hunt. Eartha warned against solo overreach. Better to stay within his limits. Ilhan wondered if the Empress joined the ranks too. Talent like hers wouldn't sit this out. Eartha stressed the heavenly mission. Outperform others to earn bigger rewards and keep sharp focus. Ilhan grinned. Chasing rewards suited him fine. Helping others, not so much. He rambled about effort-based rewards and divine perks until Eartha told him to watch his step. Ilhan's eyes snapped back to the screen, his expression darkening instantly. A hunting forum warned. A tiger lurked on Bukan Mountain, but bears were deadlier, immune to bullets, tearing through the city's defenses. Glancing at passers-by, Ilhan noticed the fear gripping everyone around. There, blocking the street, a massive bear glared with fiery demonic eyes. The crowd scattered, convinced this beast was unbeatable. Ilhan, however, grinned. This monster promised plenty of fun and loot. Pointing his spear, he joked about claiming the bear's gallbladder as his prize. Eartha teased he'd need poison resistance first and advised learning it if the chance arose. The bear's sheer size was overwhelming, its bloodshot eyes fixed coldly on Ilhan. Without warning, debris rained down, smashing near Ilhan's head. Ilhan blinked, unsure if the military had launched missiles. Eartha's finger shot upward, signaling Ilhan to look above. The bear's roar shattered the air, nearly deafening everyone nearby. Unlike before, the military arrived just in time, not ruining Ilhan's plans. The lieutenant ordered a full assault, guns blazing at the giant bear. Bullets flew but bounced harmlessly off the bear's tough hide. Realizing their firepower was useless, they wondered how to fight this beast days after the cataclysm. The monster's massive paw crushed cars like toys without breaking a sweat. The lieutenant noticed the bear's shifting course and ordered a quick retreat. Someone yelled for the government's promised superpowered reinforcements. Eartha pointed out the buildings weren't built to handle a second-class monster's assault, while Ilhan pleaded for a bit more sympathy for humanity's limits. Unlike the other world's advanced gear and tech, this one had only ordinary people's knowledge and experience to rely on. The bear's roar was clear enough. Nobody could stop it. Ilhan got the message loud and clear. Ilhan facepalmed under his mask at the bear's confidence, while Eartha joked about it being a big fish in a small pond. Eartha urged Ilhan to hurry up and reveal his plan. Ilhan stayed cool, confident he had more than enough time. Suddenly, red mana flickered to life around Ilhan, signaling battle readiness. The system chimed in. Stealth boosted his strength 10%, list ownership added another 10%. The bear's back faced Ilhan, yet it somehow sensed the looming threat. Ilhan launched a deadly aerial strike, aiming to end the fight in one hit. The bear roared, instinct kicking in as it spun to face its attacker. Eartha reminded Ilhan that a bear spotting him early meant his stealth needed serious work. Mana surged, swirling fiercely at the spear's tip. Ilhan's sole focus was that enormous bear right in front of him. The military couldn't spot Ilhan, but his powerful attacks left them speechless. Shouts rang out, calling him Sungame Bolt, a nickname he wasn't about to lose. Touching down, Ilhan sized up his target. Realizing one strike wouldn't do, Ilhan noted the bear still stood tall and ready. Eartha reassured him, Class 2 monsters weren't exactly pushovers. Ilhan revealed himself, warning the military to flee if they wanted to survive. The soldiers hesitated, and Ilhan made it clear those wanting to stay, let others run. Just then, the bear smashed a nearby building, sending debris flying at the crowd. The bear dropped to all fours as people scattered in every direction, scrambling for safety. The monster abruptly paused, noisily inhaling through its nose like it smelled trouble. Seizing the moment, Ilhan suddenly materialized right before the monster's face. Sharp claws sprang up, ready to block the incoming strike. Ilhan refused to back down, determination written all over him. Launching higher into the sky, he closed in on the bear with lightning speed. His spear pierced the monster's clawed paw, while Eartha watched, clearly entertained. Ilhan grumbled as Eartha playfully teased him, perched like a passenger on his head. The injured paw barely hurt the bear, it just fueled its fury. Eartha pointed out Ilhan slipped back into stealth since the bear lost tracks, an obvious lifeline. Now the real worry was if the spear could survive the bear's next hit. Despite unchanged physique, Ilhan knew his training and gained class strength made all the difference. His mind drifted briefly to training days with Lita. Lita's voice echoed, "Focus everything on one point, no distractions." Worry crept in. What if his fight endangered others? Eartha warned, "Care only if a single hair of hers is harmed." Ilhan imagined teasing Lita about underestimating him in a fight. He admitted quietly that worry came with the fight. The memory of falling after a hit home. Then came Lita's praise for his perfect focus. Ilhan's face showed surprise at how things had turned out. Lita's playful smile and teasing remark about pulled hair lingered in his mind. Fighting the bear, Ilhan found himself missing Lita's presence. Remembering that rare moment with Lita, he refocused all energy on the fight. Laser-focused, Ilhan lunged with lightning speed. His spear sliced down toward the monster's head with deadly intent. The military, observing the bear's battle, noticed it had suddenly frozen. Could it really be dead? The beast roared fiercely, clearly writhing in intense pain. Just as the bear collapsed, the system rewarded Ilhan with a huge XP boost and a new level, along with a one-hit kill title and bear entry. His critical hit chance shot up by 10%. Ilhan unlocked Critical Strike, a skill boosting fatal hits by targeting vital spots. Eartha, half-stunned, teased that he finished the fight in 3 hits without even using skills. Ilhan gave Eartha a skeptical look, silently demanding better praise. Eyeing his spear still intact, Ilhan appreciated the craftsmanship of a true master. He stretched out, ready to scout the area. Ilhan noticed the bear shrinking. Its gigantism skill vanished with its life. Pleased with the new skill, Ilhan heard Eartha note how nicely it complemented his stealth. Eartha reminded him that actions and achievements shape skills. Study and great deeds are the real key. Suddenly, a black car screeched around the corner at full throttle. The car slammed to a halt, the back door flinging open as boots hit the ground. A voice announced their arrival and readiness to handle the situation. Ilhan and Eartha exchanged surprised glances at the sudden arrival. Eartha guessed other ability users had shown up. Ilhan sensed their bold energy and declared the fight was done. 5 men quietly approached the soldiers, the air thick with anticipation. One asked, surprised, if the monster was truly dead already. The dark-haired guy joked about the monster's low rank, disappointed it was too easy, while all wondered who had taken it down. Then one newcomer spotted Ilhan's masked face among the group. Ilhan knew he'd been seen. Eartha clarified the man was eyeing the bear's body, not him. He just happened to be close. Soon, everyone recognized the masked stranger as the legendary Sungame Bolt. The dark-haired man muttered in disbelief. One guy took down the bear. It seemed unreal during such chaos. The others crowded around Ilhan, eager to meet the mysterious masked hero. Ilhan stayed silent, silently wishing the crowd would vanish, classic introvert instincts kicking in to dodge small talk. The dark-haired guy lost patience, demanding a reply. His friend quickly stepped in, trying to cool him down. Another noticed Ilhan's reluctance and suggested leaving him be, which only made the dark-haired guy more irritated. A girl in the group compared Ilhan to a lone manga foodie traveler. Her friends rolled eyes at her niche references. Their leader checked in with the soldiers, hearing other zones might still need backup. Ilhan noted the leader's easy chat with strangers, confirming his extrovert nature. Ilhan pictured himself awkwardly trying that approach and failing hard before even starting. Footsteps drew closer. Ilhan sensed a new arrival heading his way. The leader introduced himself warmly as Do Yoo-jun to Sungame Bolt. Do Yoo-jun reached out to shake hands, but Ilhan hesitated, unused to such casual greetings. Do Yoo-jun admitted he realized Ilhan's strength watching the fight, had lost to him early on. He bragged about catching up someday, making sure Ilhan knew his name. Ilhan challenged him, curious what came after overtaking someone. Do Yoo-jun froze, caught off guard, and unsure how to answer. After a pause, he claimed levels made it simple to spot the strongest. His confidence soared, dreaming of topping the leaderboard one day. Ilhan found himself speechless in response to the boastful claim. Inwardly, Ilhan mocked the guy's shallow goal, a puffed-up turkey aiming to be him. Later, Ilhan questioned why the other needed rivals at all. Ilhan argued self-improvement beats chasing others. True growth comes from facing oneself, not rivals. He stressed that whether punching bags or solo drills, overcoming oneself was the real challenge, not competing. Ilhan admitted many fail self-mastery and settle for comparing to others, even after endless effort. He pointedly called out Do Yoojim's neglect, calling his strength hopes laughable. All this confrontation happened in Ilhan's head, with Eartha quietly noting his downcast mood. Looking up, Ilhan realized everyone else had already taken off. Ilhan brushed his face, insisting he was calm. The angel teased that introverts can't bluff extroverts. Excitement always shows through. Instead of magic stones, Ilhan scored a bear skin tough enough to shrug off bullets. Pretty handy armor. A soldier approached Ilhan formally, addressing him as Mr. Sungbolt. Ilhan reflexively refused a sale offer, only to discover the soldier had a different idea altogether. The soldier launched into a rapid explanation, waving his hands for emphasis. He described a program that would track city monsters on a map, perfect for hunting. Ilhan questioned secrecy. The soldier insisted it was public for citizen safety, hoping to reduce monster harm. Ilhan's brow furrowed, puzzled by the soldier's frankness. Without another word, Ilhan turned and left, leaving two soldiers watching silently. A subordinate urged the major to force Ilhan's cooperation by any means necessary. The major scoffed, doubting anyone who downed a Class 2 monster in 3 hits would bend to their commands. He recalled another world where one powerful user ruled until a single monster tore the nation apart. The major warned that limiting Ilhan's will would fail. In this new world, one person could topple armies and governments. So, peace and mutual benefit made more sense than controlling armies. His subordinate was left speechless. The soldier joked about the major's smarts. The major snapped back. I am smart, college and soul included. Eartha relayed. Ilhan acknowledged the soldier's sharp mind and long prospects. Ilhan doubted his own worth. The angel suspected he was selling himself short. The angel warned that forced cooperation would only backfire badly. Ilhan would likely erase any unit that tried to control him. The soldier accepted reality, choosing cooperation over force, keeping things amicable. Ilhan still seemed unaware or confused about his own power and value. Glancing at his phone, Ilhan spotted 3 monsters appearing simultaneously, turning to Eartha for input. The angel suggested skipping the debate and just taking down all 3 monsters. Ilhan found the angel's bluntness amusing. He was more than ready to break a sweat fighting. Following the phone's map, they hurried to the first monster sighting, an eerie abandoned building. Ilhan swiftly dispatched a giant rat with barely a moment's effort. A massive praying mantis then blocked Ilhan's path. A giant black bird was the final foe, yet Ilhan wondered why his level stubbornly stayed at 24. A screen popped up explaining the low level. Those monsters were weaker than the fearsome wolf and bear he'd slain before. His rare profession demanded more XP. Any average player would be around level 30. Eartha wondered where this unknown hero could truly shine. Unfazed, Ilhan focused on the loot, selling treasures to the army eager to buy. He was stunned by his billion in cash, a dream come true, enough to consider buying real estate or anything else. Eartha warned against reckless spending. It would only scream that Sunggain Bolt was actually Yoo Ilhan, making him a target. As a one-time favor, the Sky Woman promised to erase witnesses' memories, sealing the deal quietly. Ilhan happily praised Angel Magic, thankful for the huge help. Morning arrived fast. Ilhan woke up in his familiar bed. He opened his eyes and instantly checked his vitals on the system. A message flashed. Communication with the other world was restored. Physical travel and missions were now possible. The news shook him so much his hands trembled. Though tempted to fret, Ilhan chose to stay invisible in that other world. For now, he dreaded facing loneliness again. Frustrated, he pointed at the screen, demanding answers from the angel. Celestia explained Earth's monsters had grown stronger, needing new solutions fast. Struggling to stay calm, Ilhan guessed correctly. People were being sent to another world to level up safely. Unable to hold back, Ilhan demanded to know his own fate. Why was he left out? The angel gestured, reminding him that solitude was nothing new. Despair hit him hard. His mom would surely ask why he avoided the other world. The angel suggested telling Mom the other world held nothing worth learning. Celestia expressed genuine sympathy for his tough spot. Sadly, she admitted she wasn't the one deciding his fate. Ilhan settled his nerves, accepting he probably couldn't enter another world yet. Suddenly, hope flickered. Becoming a supreme creature might open that door after all. Eartha explained that reaching supreme status meant access not just to other worlds, but even heaven itself. The news hit Ilhan hard. Becoming supreme meant a chance to reunite with Lita. Eartha found the whole situation annoyingly like lovers torn apart by distance. Her mind buzzed with ideas, a plan beginning to take shape. She realized she'd become the reluctant messenger between 2 separated hearts. Eartha hated this role, especially since she had no love of her own. She urged focus training to reach supremacy and reunite with loved ones, promising it'd take less than a millennium. Ilhan exhaled with relief. Less than 1,000 years sounded promising. At breakfast with his parents, Ilhan caught a shocking breaking news report. The TV announced martial law sweeping across the entire country. The news stunned Ilhan. His quiet monster battles were officially over. His mother explained martial law wasn't just local. The whole world was affected due to monster chaos. Schools and businesses shut down. Armies planned monster exterminations, while civilians were locked indoors. Sipping tea, Ilhan realized even governments admitted life wouldn't return to normal soon. He decided it was time for a serious talk with his parents. Ilhan suggested his parents try escaping to the safer other world. His mother gently tried to explain why that might not be the best option. The father cut in, doubting the idea after failing to advance even slightly in 10 years there. Ilhan argued the monsters wouldn't stop. Getting stronger and staying there was safer for now. The father accepted his son's resolve, promising support and urging him to keep training hard. The mother hesitated, unwilling to let Ilhan go so easily. She urged caution, happy to support, but warned against overdoing it. Ilhan quickly shifted gears, complimenting the breakfast to lighten the mood. His mother's sudden recognition caught Ilhan off guard. She knew the masked hunter was him. Ilhan was stunned that his mom figured it out so quickly. His mother shrugged off the surprise, confident she'd spot her child anywhere, even on TV behind a mask. Ilhan realized his mom's sixth sense was like a mama penguin always knowing her chick's location. Emotion bubbled up as Ilhan admitted the world often overlooked his mother. She confessed worry, amazed by his strength but urging caution, reminding him how terrifying monsters really were. Before he could reply, she warned that humans often posed a greater danger than monsters. Ilhan smiled, appreciating the rare, heartfelt exchange. She noted his hearty appetite, then excused herself, reminding him to stay safe. Ilhan waved goodbye, silently wishing her well. After she vanished through a portal, Ilhan surveyed the quiet kitchen. His gaze landed on a sink full of dirty dishes. Lita had always taken care of those. Donning gloves, Ilhan tackled the dishes, reminded that while his parents gained experience elsewhere, he had his own task. Eartha's voice broke his focus. She was off to heaven for a reward, and Ilhan cheekily requested ice cream. The angel took off, clearly amused by the unexpected ice cream order. Ilhan watched her leave, quietly enjoying a rare moment alone. Just last night, Ilhan had bought a modest workshop space outright. Tools were scarce, but impatience won. He had to start before the materials spoiled. Metalwork was ideal, but lacking materials forced him to improvise. What he had would have to suffice for working with bones. He fretted leather and material work was slow, wondering when the outfit would finally be done. Eartha interrupted with a reminder. Magic could speed things up. Ilhan smiled, teasing about her swift return, and whether she brought ice cream. His grin vanished instantly upon seeing Eartha's changed, serious expression. Eartha had grown human-sized and approached him directly, no longer just an angel. The angel crossed her arms, clearly irritated. Ilhan joked about her gigantism magic, but she shot back, claiming she'd been shrinking all along. Eartha waved it off, telling him to hold out his hand for the reward. Ilhan wiped his grimy hand on his sweater, still a bit dazed. Their handshake surprised him. Eartha's touch was cold but surprisingly gentle. Just then, a message popped up. Task 1 from heaven was done. His stats all leveled up and an extra reward came with being the best. The bonus was called Eternal Flame, but Ilhan needed Eartha to explain what that meant. Eartha just smirked, teasing him by staying silent. Then she gestured for him to look elsewhere. Ilhan noticed the fireplace flame had appeared without him lighting it. Eartha revealed the Eternal Flame was a living, ever-growing fire, heaven's prize flame. Ilhan was thrilled. It was exactly the endless fire he needed, she confirmed. Eartha recalled how Lita had insisted on sending gifts like this. Eartha remembered telling Lita she wasn't a delivery service after all those gift requests. She muttered about Lita's constant worrying from heaven. Ilhan admired Lita's care, while jealous Eartha quietly cursed the duo. Ilhan ignored Eartha's grumbles, focused on gifts that showed Lita truly got him. Hurt but silent, Eartha kept her feelings to herself. Then Eartha delivered new news. Since he couldn't leave Earth, a second heavenly task awaited. The angel dropped the bomb. He was to create dungeons on Earth. Ilhan froze, overwhelmed with questions. Make dungeons? Seriously? Him? How even? He joked about Raim instead of dungeons, which only made Eartha more annoyed. Eartha raised a finger, firmly reminding him this was a heavenly order. Dungeon duty was mandatory. Ilhan paused, weighing whether to resist or embrace the challenge. Ilhan argued the task was for Eartha, but she insisted Earth's fate meant his too. Frustration boiled as Ilhan recounted broken promises. 10 years stretched to 1,000 monsters never weak. Dungeons useless. Nothing went as planned. He couldn't grasp why the heavens bothered lying in the first place. Eartha tried explaining that when time froze, it changed everything alive. Creatures adapted and became immune, causing dungeons to behave unexpectedly. Ilhan wasn't convinced. Her explanation barely scratched the surface. Eartha's patience wore thin, but her confidence made Ilhan curious. She reminded him his skills, especially blacksmithing, were godlike. He was the only one fit to build dungeons. Ilhan struggled to accept the idea and had zero desire to take it on. Then he realized her praise might have another motive. He grew suspicious of Eartha's sudden compliments. He accused her of flattering him just to dump a huge workload on him. Eartha claimed it was a win-win. They got work done, he got rewards. Ilhan wondered what consequences refusal might bring. Eartha warned refusal meant no monsters would visit the dungeons. That would force humanity to survive in a savage wilderness. She presented blueprints and rare materials, promising heavenly support. The materials are Harkonium, Pechinum, and El Hazra were alien, unseen on Earth. Ilhan was amazed by the giant, otherworldly gems had never encountered. Next came top-tier tools tucked inside the gifts. His mood shifted to excitement, wondering if he could truly wield such gear. Eartha said the tools were loans to be returned later. Ilhan wasn't thrilled. He questioned how these tools could build dungeons, thinking digging might be easier. Eartha quickly objected, reaching out to stop his thinking. She clarified he'd only craft magical lures to draw monsters, magically shaping dungeons from the terrain. Eartha instructed him to craft a trap based on the blueprint, hinting it wouldn't be easy. She knew this task demanded serious effort. Ilhan admitted the challenge but quickly smiled, signaling it was time to get to work and think about rewards. Eartha promised a reward big enough to impress him. Without hesitation, Ilhan dived straight into the work. The first magic stone landed straight into the fire. A voice echoed in his mind about using the eternal flame to heat the stones. Using his special claws, he carefully held the next jewel to the fire. Suddenly, a perfect reaction sparked. Something incredible was unfolding. Once heated, Ilhan pulled out the stones and began hammering them. Sweat dripped as the heat pressed on, but he kept hammering steadily. Eartha watched, stunned, wondering if she'd misjudged him. She thought if he wasn't a lancer, blacksmithing would suit him perfectly. His skill was godlike, crafting weapons worthy of legend. Finally, he exhaled in relief. His uniform was ready. Doubt lingered, but Eartha assured him failure meant melting and retrying, though slowly. Ilhan said nothing, doubling down on his concentration. His eyes never left his hands, completely absorbed in the task. Eartha watched, mesmerized by his focus and skill. Then, a sudden realization struck her. Memories of Lita's Earth stories about love and life came rushing back. Only now did Eartha grasp what Lita must have felt. Lita had watched this human fascination for centuries. Eartha pondered how Lita, a higher angel, got drawn to an ordinary human. Above all, Eartha sought to understand what captured Lita's heart. A loud thud startled her as Ilhan slammed his tool down. Ilhan declared the job done, leaving Eartha utterly stunned. She struggled to grasp how something so tough wrapped up so fast. Right then, a message popped up. A legendary creator had emerged. Productivity got a 20% boost thanks to his new title. Eartha marveled, feeling like hardly any time had slipped by. Surprised, she asked if he was done. Ilhan snapped it had taken 5 hours, not minutes. She wondered if 5 hours flew by watching him. Still, for this work, that was lightning speed. Had he followed the blueprint perfectly? Ilhan tossed the cube to her, daring her to believe it. She turned the cube over, impressed by its flawless design. Her eyes flicked back to Ilhan, disbelief lingering. Doubt nagged Eartha despite seeing it happen firsthand. She blushed but admitted it met celestial standards, which pleased Ilhan more than she expected. After a pause, Eartha said craft mana was next and promised backup was coming. Ilhan had hoped Lita would arrive but felt a twinge of disappointment when she didn't. More time passed before Eartha returned from the sky, a magical glow trailing behind her. Ilhan guessed it was a fancy light from childhood memories. Eartha corrected him. It was a halo. The halo shimmered gently, like a soft golden ring. Back with her angel friends, Eartha faced disbelief. How could a human craft such a trap? Ilhan finished surprisingly fast, leaving a distinctly earthly scent, not heavenly. Ilhan realized angels were stunning. Eartha's new human height made her beauty clear. Eartha urged him to hurry. Time was tight to reach the craft mana. She reminded him to keep his focus sharp on finishing the trap. The other angels, summoned by Eartha, prepared to handle the rest. Together, the 3 angels touched Ilhan, and real magic sparked to life. A surge of golden magical energy burst forth from their touch. Ilhan yelped as an overwhelming force pressed down from all sides. The crushing weight revealed the true might of higher powers, pinning him in place. An angel smirked, teasing whether he could handle the pressure. Ilhan stayed sure he'd endure, refusing to break. He locked onto his deadly trap, using it as mental armor. The trap's magic lured monsters in, trapping them for good. For creatures long alone, this trap was a cruel, irresistible lure. Suddenly a thought struck him. Maybe these lonely creatures needed comfort. The divine pressure stayed heavy but felt lighter as he grew stronger. One angel marveled. He was unusually strong, even by human standards. Another angel grumbled, worried they might get humbled, and refused to let pride take a hit. A fresh angel admired the rarity of such a fascinating human. From outside, the building glowed warmly, lit from the inside. A message popped up. The trap was complete, mana skills leveled up, artifact quality improved. Ilhan stared upward, still stunned, had pulled it off on the first try. The long-haired angel clenched his jaw, unwilling to accept the flawless success. The green-haired angel admitted surprise. Ilhan had even crafted alpha and beta versions. They referred to bonus options earned through mana crafting, luck, and skill. Such rare traits depend on luck, item, and skill. It was unusual to see both on a first try. An angel gave Ilhan a nod of respect, noting it was time to set the dungeon in motion. Eartha invited Ilhan to join them for the next steps. Ilhan welcomed the offer, eager to tag along. As they moved through the streets, ruined buildings painted a grim scene. The angels flew with ease, carrying Ilhan, who thought the devastation looked apocalyptic. An angel wondered if Ilhan needed invisibility, but Eartha assured him staying passive kept him under the radar. The higher powers ensured the city's monsters ignored Ilhan completely. The angel remarked it was no surprise Ilhan was the one overlooked by God. Ilhan bristled, feeling more like zoo entertainment than a hero, waiting to prove them wrong next time. Finally, the mountains towering over the city came into view. The angels arrived at an empty lot, prime spot for their new dungeon. Eartha tossed the trap into the air. It hovered, glowing softly on its own. Suddenly, the trap vanished, leaving Ilhan puzzled. An angel smiled, happy with how smoothly things were unfolding. Ilhan, however, looked a bit lost, and maybe a little spooked. Elsewhere, armed soldiers shared Ilhan's confusion, scanning the chaotic streets. The giant rat they chased suddenly froze, distracted and oddly calm. Massive ants from another squad moved toward wherever the rat was fixated. Eyes turned skyward, where huge birds darkened the clouds with their wings. The mutant creatures, once wild, now marched obediently into Ilhan's trap. An angel begrudgingly admitted Ilhan was a natural trapmaker. Eartha revealed other dungeons had sprung to life, surprising Ilhan since they were said unusable. The angel explained magic had recycled old dungeons' energy into earth energy. No wonder Harcanum was scarce, eco-friendly, in a divine way. The visiting angel smiled, teasing Eartha and Ilhan about their obvious closeness. Both denied it, though their reactions said otherwise. Ilhan's focus snapped back to the monster's strange behavior. Though animals had roamed Earth for centuries, they now obediently marched into the divine trap. Divine power was absolute. Humanity and monsters alike danced to God's unfathomable will. Humans were no different, just pawns in the supreme ruler's hand. Ilhan's thousand-year solitude, a simple oversight. Those thoughts tangled in Ilhan's mind, fueling his growing frustration. Suddenly, Ilhan felt a gentle hand rest on his back. He scanned the room, unsure if it was real or just his imagination playing tricks. He understood that without Lita's presence, 1,000 years alone might have broken him. Since she wasn't here now, he vowed to grow stronger, untouchable by anyone or anything. Ilhan made a firm decision. Strength would serve his own will, no one else. Later, while eating a sandwich, he caught news reporting that Seoul's monster chaos was from newly activated dungeons scattered around the city. Washing dishes, he heard that dungeons popped up across Korea, Japan, and even parts of China. Reporter ODG promised to clarify it all. Thoughts of his parents' return made him quietly sad. He couldn't picture their fate but trusted their life experience helped them survive wherever they were. Eartha confirmed the dungeons worked perfectly and gave Ilhan credit. Ilhan asked why angels left if 27 traps still awaited creation, ready to start immediately. Eartha explained trap-making drained mana, so angels needed rest before returning. Ilhan mentioned Lita among the angels, hoping to see her again. Eartha smiled knowingly. Eartha admitted Lita's extra duties kept her busy, so she couldn't visit Earth anytime soon. Disappointed, Ilhan accepted that Lita wouldn't be showing up after all. Ilhan shifted focus, telling Eartha to start on the workshop base. She noted his total immersion in work with a sigh. Outside, Ilhan wondered why Eartha grew bigger during dungeon creation, then shrank back afterward. She explained angel duties required different forms. This size suited her helper role best. Their chat continued as they arrived at the workshop. Ilhan planned to craft more traps for the coming day. Eartha inspected the monster loot Ilhan had collected with keen interest. She promised a small reward for yesterday's flawless work, hinting his trap-making days would soon be packed. Ilhan guessed it might be more Harcanum, but the angel gently shut down that hope. Suddenly, the bear's skin on the table began to react mysteriously. Eartha explained the skin was drying and sterilizing magically, done in a flash. Ilhan admired the flawless work, a true showcase of angelic magic. Eartha smiled, teasing if he had a use for it already. He eagerly planned gloves and boots next, diving straight into crafting. The fireplace crackled warmly as leather lay spread out, patiently waiting for Ilhan's careful cuts. The first creations were rare gauntlets of the terrible wolf, solid defense paired with fierce attack. Next came matching boots, equally rare, balancing armor with strong offensive power. Ilhan was happy but worried the boots might get too hot to move freely despite their airing feature. Eartha asked about his fortification skills. Ilhan shrugged off the question, hinting it took serious know-how. Ilhan set his sights on crafting armor from the bear's tough hide. Eartha paused, watching his focused determination. A sly smile crept onto her lips. The sun dipped low as the skilled craftsman worked on into the evening. Eartha yawned, noting the long day's work. She suggested a break, but Ilhan was too absorbed to notice. Moments later, he insisted he wasn't tired and almost finished. Eartha joked about his superhuman stamina carrying him through sleepless nights. Before she could finish, Ilhan declared the work complete. The bear leather armor was top tier, 2,100 armor, 850 strength, crafted from rare hide, tough enough to resist high-ranked monster bites. Eartha was impressed by the armor's power. Ilhan noted only finishing touches remained. He grabbed claws and bones, preparing to reinforce the armor further. With a focused push, he infused the bear's residual strength into the armor. This boosted the armor's mystic power, crafted from the giant brown bear's skin. A message popped up. Mana crafting hit level 8. Ilhan hinted at hidden armor features. Eartha smirked, knowing its secret. Eartha demonstrated by revealing hidden spikes from her own armor, ready to strike back. Ilhan smiled, likening the armor to a hedgehog that could scare off even a tiger. Eartha recalled that Ilhan's previous armband hid a mantis blade, proving his craftiness. Eartha wondered why Ilhan concealed sharp spikes within his armor. Ilhan stayed quiet, then cryptically hinted she was curious about his secret. The question felt random but intense. Eartha pressed on, sensing a deeper reason. Eartha guessed if the spikes had a personal backstory. Ilhan snapped that his parents were fine. Their banter deepened, with some playful philosophical vibes. Eartha suddenly shouted, baffled by the nonsense, though she'd been listening seriously. Calmly, Eartha noted Ilhan's creations always seemed to come with alpha and beta options now. Ilhan said leftover bones would become a knife. Processing monster remains with a spear was tough. Without delay, Ilhan dove straight into crafting. Soon, Ilhan finished a rare bone knife, sharp and sturdy with solid attack and durability stats. Then came a dire wolf skull mask, 600 armor, 660 durability, crafted from a mana-rich wolf's bones, sparking surprise. When asked about another mask, Ilhan explained leftover materials made it possible. Fully geared up, Ilhan admired his cool new look. Glancing in the mirror, Ilhan seemed confident his mask look suited him well. Eartha gasped, shocked that the mask somehow weakened his presence. Ilhan insisted the mask was untouched, but a strange noise suddenly interrupted. Ilhan and Eartha exchanged worried looks. Sounds of a monster fight echoed nearby. Ilhan removed his mask, visibly shaken by the news. A massive Class 2 monster had appeared in Jungno, forcing evacuations to another world. Eartha murmured in surprise. This monster wasn't confined to a dungeon. Ilhan silently hoped the beast was weaker than a huge brown bear. Eartha teased if he was scared, but Ilhan clarified it wasn't fear. Ilhan admitted fighting wasn't the issue. It was the daunting task of processing the monster's body afterward. He pulled out his old spear for a close inspection. Ilhan told Eartha the spear needed repairs before it could face battle again. Ilhan's steel spear boasted 1100 attack and 715 durability, with a rare 20% crit boost. Crafted without mana, it was nothing short of a miracle. Satisfied with the repair, Ilhan already noticed his attack power had jumped 300 points. Ilhan eyed more upgrades, but Eartha vetoed. Hunting time had arrived. He exhaled deeply. Angels could really be a handful sometimes. Stepping outside, they faced the harsh reality. Widespread city damage. Civilians fled, but Ilhan charged headfirst toward the monster. Ever watchful, Eartha guided him toward the chaos. Ahead loomed a massive leopard with glowing red eyes, terrorizing the streets. The beast snarled fiercely, swiping at a hovering military chopper. Soldiers panicked as anti-tank missiles failed. Law officials ordered second-class fighters to attack before the presidential Blue House was hit. Observing the chaos, Ilhan noted second-class fighters were stepping up. Their otherworldly training helped, but this fight was different. Earth battles were a whole different level, much tougher than gaining XP elsewhere. The leopard's paws slammed down, wiping out dozens. Even second-class fighters struggled against such a beast. Ilhan agreed, but knew his situation was different. Though others escaped to other worlds, Earth was his home, and losing it would erase everything. Ilhan hadn't planned to risk himself for anyone else. Yet he chose not to be completely indifferent. The thought settled. A bit more effort to protect others was worth it. Ilhan's movements blurred, too fast for the naked eye. Meanwhile, the leopard kept tearing through everything with brutal force. Eartha confirmed the monster outclassed even the fiercest brown bears. Just then, the military fired a tank round at the beast. The first shot landed squarely on target. Soldiers cheered, confident a face hit would do serious damage. But as the dust settled, the soldiers' smiles faded. Things weren't going as planned. The leopard's head stayed unscathed, but the attack only fueled its fury. It snapped its gaze toward the tank's position. In a flash, its massive paw slammed down, pinning the tank in place. The beast hoisted the tank, baring its bone-filled jaws. Pausing briefly, it examined its prize, an oddly sized pawful of metal. Ilhan launched skyward, closing in on the monster at lightning speed. Quiet stealth paid off big time as Ilhan neared the leopard's eye. The spear was almost home, aiming straight for the beast's glaring eye. The leopard howled in agony, blood spraying, and dropped the tank instantly. The hit registered as critical, and the crowd buzzed, spotting their hero. Whispers spread. Sungane Bolt was still here. Hope was alive. The freed tank plummeted toward the earth. Ilhan paused midair, quickly sizing up the unfolding chaos. The injured beast growled fiercely, refusing to back down. Deciding to retreat, Ilhan sprang upward, putting distance between them. Military commanders ordered an all-out assault without delay. The captain commanded a full barrage against the rampaging leopard. Amid the chaos, Ilhan raced to save soldiers trapped in the falling tank. His intense laser focus targeted the speeding metal beast. In one swift move, Ilhan sliced the tank clean in two. The trapped soldiers stared up at him, wide-eyed and terrified. Ilhan silently urged them to grab tight if they wanted to live. A soldier clutched Ilhan's arm with desperate grip. Ilhan secured both soldiers and sprang away from the crashing wreck. They all touched down safely, unharmed despite the chaos. The crowd silently thanked Sungane Bolt for the stunning rescue. Ilhan wasn't in it for hero points. He helped simply because he could. Suddenly, unsettling noises pricked Ilhan's ears. Ilhan signaled the soldiers to retreat. Danger was closing fast. The massive leopard loomed like a mountain, drooling with menace. Its blazing eye locked onto its trembling targets. Ilhan noted the leopard's sharp mind, sizing up its biggest threat. The angel warned Ilhan to stay sharp. Stealth was off. This beast had spotted him clear as day. Ilhan smiled, confident this foe was no match even face to face. The threat wasn't just personal. The whole group was in danger. Military commanders barked out orders, time to strike while the iron's hot. Bullets rained down from every direction simultaneously. With the leopard fixated on Ilhan, magic users were urged to aim for its eyes. Out of nowhere, a lightning bolt struck the beast dead center. The beast screamed in agony, hit once more in its sensitive eye. Eyes turned skyward, spotting a helicopter cutting through the air. Inside, a girl shimmered with crackling lightning energy. Whispered rumors flew. Was that the Empress, summoning lightning? Her striking beauty caught every eye, especially among the men. The beast's roar persisted, but the military's barrage showed no sign of stopping. Regaining focus, the leopard charged directly at Ilhan. Ilhan stood his ground, fully prepared for the incoming strike. The giant clawed paw descended fast, aiming to crush him. With a quick leap, Ilhan dodged, escaping injury by a hair. The leopard's wounded eyes still throbbed from Ilhan's earlier strike. Ilhan aimed once more, hoping to blind the beast completely. The crowd stayed glued to Sungane Bolt's every move. Rumors buzzed among the crowd, worried about Sungane Bolt's fate. The Empress kept her gaze locked on the leopard, searching for Ilhan's figure. Suddenly, the crowd pointed and shouted, spotting something near the beast. A pool of blood had formed on the asphalt beneath the leopard's feet. What looked like a giant hedgehog on the monster's head was actually Ilhan, armored up. Ilhan told Eartha his investment had paid off, with a hint of smugness. Eartha paused, then hinted she had something important to share. Eartha bluntly said Ilhan looked terrible, but he shrugged it off. The suit's function mattered more than looks. When asked about Lita spotting him, Ilhan was quick to deny it. The leopard roared, rising onto its hind legs in a show of power. The beast's wild movements unsettled Eartha, who started to feel sick. As the leopard charged, Ilhan joked about needing rock climbing skills. The leopard's plan was clever: toss Ilhan's head into a building. Ilhan's armor needles retracted just in time as he bounced away. Not missing a beat, Ilhan flipped midair and struck back hard. Sharp spikes suddenly sprouted from the soles of his shoes. Through it all, Ilhan never loosened his grip on the super spear. Yoo Ilhan seized the moment for a critical strike. His critical strike skill had just leveled up to level 2. Military observers noticed the leopard slowing, prompting an all-out assault. Cheers erupted, urging soldiers to fire faster and press the attack. Still, Class 1 attacks barely scratched this Class 2 monster. The leopard's paw dripped blood from fresh cuts dealt by the humans. Ilhan mused to Eartha that even tiny ants can take down an elephant with enough teamwork. It was a sharp reminder that strategy beats brute strength every time. Eartha urged Ilhan to wrap things up quickly, hinting the angels saw dangers he didn't. The leopard was mutating fast, nearly reaching third-class monster status. Suddenly, red tentacle-like growth sprouted from the wound on the beast's head. Ilhan stared, baffled by the grotesque transformation happening before him. Eartha warned of rapid mutation. Ilhan joked about needing backup, maybe an elven archer or knight. Eartha snapped it wasn't time for jokes. Ilhan quipped they might keep him alive somehow. Ilhan realized the monster wasn't fully evolved yet and needed to act fast. Lightning suddenly struck the beast, cutting off Ilhan's train of thought. The electricity fried some of those nasty red tentacles. Ilhan glanced up to spot the Empress arriving in a helicopter. The Empress admitted the level gap made killing the leopard impossible, alone. Ilhan grumbled about endless regeneration, knowing he had to land a knockout blow. She offered Ilhan a magical boost for the fight ahead. Warning that her mana would be drained, she asked if Ilhan could finish the job. Ilhan urged her to hurry. She nodded, placing her trust in him. Without hesitation, the Empress leapt from the chopper and soared toward the battlefield. Ilhan stood stunned, admiring her fearless arrival. Up close, Ilhan gasped, then fell silent, overwhelmed. She explained that touching him would drain all her mana, ending her aid. After a pause, she warned that her life would now depend on him. Ilhan was baffled, wondering why she'd trust him so blindly. With resolve, she reached out, signaling the fight was about to start. The system announced Thunder's spirit had possessed Ilhan, boosting his attack, speed, and crit chance by 50% for 30 seconds. Each strike sparked with Thunder's power, but a cooldown awaited, half ability effectiveness for 3 minutes after. Eartha marveled at Ilhan's stamina, handling heavy mana and buffs despite being only first class. Without hesitation, Ilhan chose to strike immediately, no time for second thoughts. Letting out a fierce battle cry, Ilhan drove his spear deep into the leopard. The Empress warned that failure meant missile strikes, and chaos for everyone nearby. Thoughts raced. His workshop was close. He couldn't let the destruction happen. Time to unleash the empowered critical strike gifted by the Empress. Ilhan's spear struck again, sending blood splattering wildly. The system confirmed nearly 785k XP gained, hitting level 28, boosting all stats by 5%, a satisfying victory. Eartha praised Ilhan for finishing the level 87 leopard before it evolved further, impressive for a first-timer. The Empress doubted the kill, but Ilhan assured her, backed by the XP gain. She admitted confusion, revealing they weren't even on the same team. Ilhan pondered the idea of teams, something he'd never used, always going solo. Eartha, reading his thoughts, shrugged off team talk. Lone wolves like Ilhan didn't need it anyway. The system notified that buffs had faded. All abilities now halved for 3 minutes. The wounded leopard collapsed, almost crushing Ilhan beneath its weight. Just a second longer, and Ilhan would have been flattened by the beast. Ilhan silently thanked Eartha's warning. She quipped he barely escaped. A crushed hero would have been a letdown. The crowd erupted, their cheers ringing out loud and clear. Ilhan stood frozen, stunned by cheers praising the Empress's crucial help. Eartha reminded him to enjoy the rare moment of praise. Angel noticed Ilhan's daze, pointing out the battle was over and victory won. Ilhan seemed too deflated to even respond, his excitement oddly muted. Finally, Ilhan joked about the leopard's shredded skin, not exactly armor material. Celestia found it surprisingly endearing how much the magic stone meant to Ilhan. Nearby soldiers debated how to split the leopard's remains, one eager to start cutting up the prize. Just before the soldier's dagger sank in, a familiar voice called him to pause. Ilhan stepped forward, claiming the task of dissecting the corpse as his own. He quickly apologized to the Empress for stepping in. Ilhan consulted the Empress on the fairest way to split the bounty. Admirers whispered about the Empress's unexpected beauty as she assigned Ilhan 60%, keeping 20% herself and the rest for the others. Ilhan glanced at the crowd, silently asking if the split was accepted. He hummed thoughtfully, repeating 60% under his breath. Suddenly, electric songbolts flickered onto the leopard's corpse. Without hesitation, Ilhan plunged his hand into the beast's head wound. He pulled out a pink magic stone. Eartha noted its high quality, thanks to the leopard's near third-class evolution. The stone's power ranked solidly as second-class magic. The Empress insisted the stone counted for Ilhan's full 60% share. Ilhan gripped the stone firmly, declaring it his share and leaving the rest to be divided. A soldier protested, insisting the magic stone needed separate consideration. Others echoed complaints about risking their lives, opposing the proposed split. Eartha muttered that low creatures were hopeless. Ilhan expected resistance. Eartha called the crowd hopeless while praising Ilhan's realism. She sighed, glad he got the compliment. Ilhan announced a new plan, leaving Angel puzzled by his next move. Some soldiers praised Ilhan's respectful leadership, wishing it had come sooner. Eartha questioned Ilhan's plan to hand over the stone so easily. He admitted convincing others wouldn't be simple. In that moment, Ilhan recalled his mother's advice about the challenge of negotiating with rivals. His mom had joked that sometimes fists say more than words. Young Ilhan had admired his mom's wisdom and now told Angel he'd follow her advice. Ilhan decided to give away the magic stone, though the real challenge was just beginning. Ilhan tossed the magic stone back into the leopard's body, stirring confusion in the crowd. He told them to split the spoils however they liked, confident he'd still claim his cut. Then he landed firmly, warning no one would leave without his full 60%. His pause was sharp. Sungame Bolt's warning hung heavy. No one leaves unscathed. Thrusting his spear deep, Ilhan's show of strength made the crowd flinch. Whispers spread. No matter their numbers, they stood no chance against Ilhan. After quick talks, a man surrendered, telling Ilhan to keep the stone and handle the rest as he pleased. Hidden from view, Ilhan smiled inwardly at the crowd's sudden shift. Ilhan leapt back onto the leopard, intent on finding that elusive magic stone again. The Empress offered a deal, give her share up front, and she'd return 40%, favoring skin over bones. Without hesitation, Ilhan accepted the Empress's generous offer. Hours later, the leopard skin was neatly packed. Ilhan guessed a vehicle would be needed to haul it all. Ilhan noticed the Empress dialing, likely calling a ride. Her helicopter arrival hinted at serious wealth. A soldier begged Sungame Bolt to help process their own fate too. Ilhan wasn't thrilled, but kept his disappointment well hidden behind a calm facade. Seeing hopeful eyes, Ilhan doubted these men could handle such a tough job. The crowd's pleas grew urgent, begging Sungame Bolt for salvation. They admitted skinning was beyond them, and wished for a quick end after securing the trophy. Eartha scoffed at their shamelessness, first grabbing for the stone, now begging for help. Celestia grumbled about quitting. Ilhan joked she could leave him with Lita. The remark soothed her enough to stay. Ilhan declared he'd charge 50% for the processing work. The crowd grumbled, shocked by the hefty 50% fee after the Empress's 40%. Accusations of unfairness flew. Ilhan refused to haggle, telling them to take it or leave it. Reluctantly, they agreed. The men watched skeptically, muttering about fairness and questioning Ilhan's larger cut. Complaints about age and respect flew as Ilhan grew weary, ready to call it a day. Just as Ilhan started to leave, a voice called him back unexpectedly. Sungame Bolt stopped, curious about the sudden interruption. The Empress praised his stealth, though Ilhan grumbled internally. Stealth wasn't exactly his pick. She proposed teaming up, convinced to be the ideal partner. Ilhan confidently declined the offer. Smiling, she explained her plan to stay on Earth, claiming she wasn't weak enough to flee elsewhere. She hinted they'd cross paths frequently from now on. With a smile, she slipped him her card, inviting future contact. She turned and left, leaving Ilhan holding her card, her real name, Kang Mirai. Ilhan mused, finally connecting the Empress to her true identity. He appreciated her chill vibe, but decided he wouldn't be calling anytime soon. Sungane Bolt told Eartha it was time to head back. Plenty of work awaited. The leopard skin wasn't going to process itself. Ilhan had plans for the evening. In the workshop, Ilhan jumped straight to discussing trap making. Eartha worried the monster was nearing Class 3. Ilhan suggested she take that question up with God. The Celestial ranted in frustration. Ilhan stayed cool, repeating his advice to ask God. When questioned why she complained, Eartha insisted it was about keeping her superior image intact. She claimed she couldn't show anger around lesser beings. Ilhan teased her for being so calm with him. She questioned his calmness, stressing how dire a Class 3 monster was among first-grade skilled humans. The angel explained monsters currently held the upper hand, while humans grew stronger elsewhere, fulfilling God's tasks. Concerned, Eartha and Ilhan wondered how to restore balance against the rapidly evolving monsters. Ilhan admitted he wasn't truly calm, but preferred action over pointless worry. Ilhan asked about other lands. The angel confirmed Korea alone faced monsters nearing Class 3. Ilhan noted the destructive trap might cause trouble given the monster threat. Earth's stunned expression said it all. Things were more complicated than expected. She wondered if the destructive trap empowered the monsters, but quickly dismissed the idea as impossible. The Celestial guessed the monsters, feeling threatened, might have just gotten more aggressive as a reaction. Eartha explained monsters elsewhere get shut down before sensing danger, so their evolution mainly happens deep in dungeons. Endless dungeon breeding created bizarre, dangerous monsters that eat each other, slowing their evolution, the angel added. Ilhan was shocked, calling dungeons the true demon lairs. Outside dungeons, monsters grow by devouring humans, since they rarely fight each other, which explains slower growth inside. Ilhan concluded dungeons protect humans. Eartha agreed, praising his trap dungeons as a big help. Hearing this, Ilhan rushed to craft as many destructive traps as he could. Ilhan tossed another magic stone from Eartha into the fire. The Celestial curiously asked if Ilhan genuinely enjoyed making things. Ilhan admitted he found it fun, which kept him going. He explained that creating was really about seeking fresh experiences, not just fun. Eartha was surprised, realizing Ilhan's 1,000-year static life made him crave new experiences. Ilhan had spent a long time completely alone on Earth. The angel pictured how isolating those endless days must have been for him. Celestia finally understood his hunger for novelty. She blinked at herself, surprised to catch sympathy for someone she once saw as lesser. Ilhan noticed the angel's sudden, odd behavior. Quietly, she admitted this unfamiliar feeling wasn't so bad after all. She encouraged Ilhan to get stronger so he could chase any experience, anytime, anywhere. Ilhan nodded, sweat trickling down, fully determined. He quietly vowed to become stronger, no matter what. Ilhan spent the whole day working hard in his workshop. When night settled, his workshop was the lone glow in the dark city. With darkness came the angels, refreshed after restoring their mana. After crafting traps with mana, the angels set off to build a new dungeon. Ilhan hoped the new dungeon wouldn't unleash more dangerous monsters onto the city streets. Eartha reassured him that any Class 3 monster caused by traps wasn't his fault. His mission was too important to worry. Ilhan appreciated the support, silently thankful for the encouragement. The angel fell quiet, needing a moment to sort through her thoughts. Ilhan stretched outside, admitting fatigue and signaling it was time to call it a night. Back at his apartment, he headed straight for a hot shower. A tired glance in the mirror left his thoughts a bit jumbled. The TV murmured news of a slain Class 2 monster and widespread city damage. Stepping out, Ilhan half-joked about gaining some weight. Angel teased that leveling up always brought growth. Surprise was futile. Ilhan checked his face, confident he looked better than before. Eartha dismissed his vanity, claiming his looks meant nothing to a supreme being, though humans might disagree. Ignoring her, Ilhan started boasting about his appearance. Annoyed, Eartha tossed chips at him, telling him to stop hogging the TV and get dressed. Ilhan smiled, declaring it was bedtime. He left with a reminder for Eartha to get some rest and not binge-watch TV. The chip bag hit the floor, spilling snacks everywhere. Silently, the Celestial gathered her scattered chips. She held back any response to Ilhan's parting words. As he left, Eartha muttered that looks and physique meant little among higher beings. Deep down, she believed Ilhan's true worth lay within, not his appearance. Her thoughts tangled. The angel struggled to control her emotions. She worried aloud that complimenting his inner self sounded suspiciously like praise. The memory of Lita admiring Ilhan only fueled Eartha's irritation. Angel caught Ilhan mumbling about missing Lita in his sleep. The night slipped by unnoticed as Ilhan woke with the dawn's first light. Upon waking, Ilhan noticed a system message praising his max rest and boosted stats, mistaking it briefly for an alarm. Surprised to learn a rest skill existed, Ilhan was interrupted as Eartha entered the room. Eartha asked how Ilhan learned a near-impossible SS skill. He joked, questioning if rest could be that serious. She was baffled since she hadn't unlocked that skill herself yet. Ilhan barely believed Eartha's praise, realizing the skill was indeed remarkable. For a century, Ilhan had relentlessly sought the ultimate sleep method. Eartha was genuinely impressed by his dedication to mastering rest. She admitted being overwhelmed that he'd obtained such a rare and difficult skill. Curious, Ilhan learned the skill's purpose was simply to optimize rest. Yet Ilhan suspected Eartha was hiding something deeper about the skill. He reasoned that such a reaction meant the skill offered more than just rest. Ilhan pressed for the full story. Eartha insisted she hadn't been hiding anything. He waited eagerly as Eartha prepared to explain. Donning glasses, Eartha prepared to explain skill evolution. Skill evolution, like leveling up, unlocks new paths shaped by experience, much like the Akasha Chronicles. Ilhan begged for a simple, explain like I'm M5 version. Eartha displayed before and after images showing how skills evolve and strengthen, finally clicking for Ilhan. He listed skills ready to evolve. Taijutsu, spear-wielding, rest, and stealth. Machining and blacksmithing were perfected. No further upgrades needed. Stealth remained uncontrolled, so it wasn't considered for evolution yet. Taijutsu and spear evolution were too tough at his level, explaining her earlier silence. Ilhan guessed the rest skill was the exception worth exploring. He figured the system would guide him through the rest skill's evolution. Ilhan blinked at the requirements: monster hearts, liters of troll blood, 100 hours of quality sleep, and a rare magic stone. None collected yet. Frustration bubbled as Ilhan wondered how on earth he'd meet these insane demands. Eartha stayed calm, assuring him this was just the tip of the iceberg. Eartha pointed out spear skill demands, one-hit kills on tough monsters to snag that magic stone. She compared spear skill to Everest, but resting skill was like tackling Mount Baeksu, twice as brutal. Ilhan protested the challenge was far from easy, but Eartha believed he could handle it no problem. He argued back, feeling underestimated since he couldn't use mana and was stuck at level 28. Eartha pondered how slowly Ilhan's level rose. Maybe his title was holding him back. She realized the mana barrier was massive, separating those who had it from those who didn't. Eartha concluded Ilhan's strength came from centuries of martial arts mastery. Without every skill perfect, others could easily outpace him. Yet if Ilhan mastered mana, he'd rule over every creature in the Akasha record. Eartha imagined the unstoppable force he'd become, and the chaos that might follow. Taking a deep breath, Eartha tried to push down her swirling worries. She figured some things were better left alone for now. Watching Ilhan yawn, Eartha reminded herself attachment could be a risky business. Ilhan found breakfast waiting, plus a mom's note reminding him not to skip meals. Ilhan wondered where trolls even were. Eartha explained mana activation would summon new foreign monsters to Earth. Ilhan grumbled about the teacher role. Eartha assured she was comfortable explaining things clearly. Suddenly, a TV news report grabbed their attention. The reporter detailed a recent Class 2 monster attack that heavily damaged nearby buildings. Ilhan instantly recognized the scene where he'd slain a giant leopard just days before. He was shocked the monster's corpse was already gone after only 2 days. After a pause, Eartha warned it wasn't as simple as it seemed. The presenter noted the monster's former resting spot looked spotless now. The monster and its scavengers vanished together, news that sounded straight out of a fantasy. Ilhan's eyes widened, hearing rumors of a sudden dungeon swallowing everyone whole. Ilhan grimaced, rejecting the idea of an underground trap. He quickly connected the dots. Another hidden monster was the real culprit. Eartha confirmed the leopard was dead, its mana stone in hand. Hunts usually ended there. Ilhan wondered what could happen in the rare 0.01% exception. Eartha explained the exception, a pregnant monster about to give birth. Ilhan finally realized the leopard had been a pregnant female all along. A fleeting image of a black leopard flashed in his mind, sparking new thoughts. Memories revealed a stealthy shadow blending with ruined buildings. This monster was cunning. Ilhan muttered to Eartha, blaming himself for not finishing the hunt properly. Eartha insisted it wasn't Ilhan's fault. Greed had caused the chaos. Ilhan's tone grew heavy, mourning those who died, especially allies. Eartha was surprised by Ilhan's emotional depth, more invested than she guessed. Frustration crept in as Eartha admitted she still didn't fully know Ilhan. Ilhan pieced it together. The leopard's rage was all about protecting her cub. His conclusion, maternal instinct drove the beast's final fury. Eartha admitted fault for overlooking a stealthy newborn's role in the chaos. Ilhan kept beating himself up for not handling the hunt completely. The hidden cub must have been in the parts Ilhan hadn't touched. Eartha sighed, blaming the stealth skill and chaotic loot fights for the unfinished body. She guessed the arguing gave the cub just enough time to enter the world. Eartha mused on the oddly perfect timing of events. She pictured the newborn's first sights, chaos and loss. The cub's first memories were of its mother's death and humans bickering nearby. The reporter kept relaying the chaotic scene live, adding fuel to the morning's tension. Ilhan hoped the rumors were false but guessed a third-class monster was now in play. Eartha nodded, certain the stealthy foe ranked solidly as a Class 3 threat. Ilhan switched off the TV, deciding the morning news had been more than enough drama. Eartha asked if he felt ready to face the challenge ahead. Ilhan admitted it wouldn't be easy solo but believed careful prep might tip the scales. He smiled, knowing a stealth opponent meant losing wasn't an option. Eartha agreed emphatically. Eartha teased him as a stealth master. Ilhan grumbled, doubtful of any other impressive skills. Eartha agreed, noting no one excels at everything. She reasoned strong stealth meant weaker defense and strength, making the fight fair game. Ilhan decided to gear up immediately, ready for what lay ahead. Pulling on a sweatshirt, Ilhan left with urgency, knowing a lone stealth monster could wreak havoc. Just as he reached the door, Ilhan remembered the importance of calling in backup. He dug into his pocket, pulling out the Empress's business card like a secret weapon. Eartha raised an eyebrow, warning a personal phone call would blow his cover instantly. Ilhan nodded, opting for a payphone to keep his identity under wraps. He stepped outside and headed straight for the nearest phone booth. The card in his hand held Kang Mi-rae's number, his lifeline for help. Eartha trusted Kang Mi-rae's help, confirming Ilhan's call was the right move. Kang Mi-rae's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen with mild surprise. The unexpected caller eyed a payphone caught Kang Mi-rae off guard. The call connected at last, a familiar female voice answering on the other side. Ilhan joked about their short absence while Kang Mi-rae remained clueless about the caller. Ilhan bristled inwardly at having to explain his well-known nickname. He finally blurted out his moniker, Sungane Bolt, with a touch of impatience. Once she recognized the caller, Kang Mi-rae lit up with excitement. Kang greeted him warmly, catching Ilhan off guard and making him slightly uneasy. She chuckled, clearly amused by his discomfort over the nickname. Ilhan stayed silent, internally wondering if she'd caught the news. This was no ordinary dungeon threat. He stressed the danger, a powerful monster, armed with deadly stealth, and acknowledged the gravity, understanding the threat without needing many details. The call ended, Ilhan hung up, resolve hardening. Ilhan told Eartha Kang was already mobilizing the army and government. Her network was impressive. He asked for advice, deciding preparation was now essential. Back at his workshop, Ilhan got straight to work using every last bit of his loot. He smiled, declaring his base was set and the crafting would begin. Eartha questioned his plans, suggesting his steel spear was already good enough. Ilhan held up a giant bone, urging Eartha to pay attention. Annoyed, Eartha tugged his hair, demanding a clear answer. His reply stunned her. They were crafting posts, not weapons. One by one, identical bone columns emerged under his hammer. Eartha guessed necklace posts. Ilhan smiled, telling her to brush up on basics. Growing impatient, Eartha listened as Ilhan patiently explained. Ilhan grabbed another bone, finally sparking Eartha's understanding. She guessed spear but missed the mark as Ilhan shaped a bizarre leopard bone weapon. Eartha blinked in disbelief. Ilhan had crafted a harpoon. Ilhan smiled, glad Eartha finally caught on. He explained that a harpoon wasn't just a regular spear. Ilhan detailed its use, thrown to snag prey mainly for whale hunting. He added that a harpoon's line needs to be tougher than normal rope. Giant leopard skin would do the trick. Eartha admired Ilhan's speed, suspecting mana use to explain the rapid crafting. Ilhan dismissed the idea, saying he'd skip weapons if mana was an option, heading straight for the hunt. Finally, the gear was set. Harpoons, a tough leopard skin rope, and sturdy posts. Eartha found it cruel to use a mother's bones against her child. Ilhan stayed focused, ignoring her remark. A glowing stone appeared. Eartha noted it was time for Ilhan to unleash his crafting mana. She questioned if spending all mana on one weapon wasn't overkill. Ilhan justified it as a necessary survival tactic. Eartha's expression showed disappointment, resigned to his stubborn mindset. Ilhan presented the pink stone, signaling the start of crafting mana, linking his weapons together. The system confirmed a new lethal leopard hunter's harpoon and upgraded his mana crafting to level 12. Eartha cheered as the skill's activation sped up. Mana crafting was rarely this smooth. Ilhan ignored warnings, mesmerized by his harpoon's rare alpha and beta options. The harpoon earned a unique class and 1050 attack power, boasting 20% boost to crit chance and binding strength. Artisan skills made it far superior to normal gear. Eartha marveled at the top-tier options, crediting the Akashic records for the impressive results. She rolled her eyes, thinking this was borderline cheating. Ilhan caught Eartha's expression and wondered if something was off. Ready to move, Ilhan called the Empress to say he'd arrive shortly. He warned Kang not to move. The stealthy monster could strike unexpectedly. Ilhan explained the beast was born mere days after its mother's death. Ilhan was convinced the leopard still lurked where his mother fell. The Empress, driving, asked why he thought so. Ilhan guessed the creature sought revenge for its mother's death. He stressed caution, knowing they had killed the massive leopard themselves. The Empress assured she was ready for any threat. After a pause, Kang asked if there was a plan in place. Ilhan nodded but kept his plans close to the chest. Eartha promised to block the monster's stealth, telling him to hold tight for the right moment. The Empress chose to trust Ilhan's judgment without protest. Soon, Ilhan returned to the exact place of his battle with the giant leopard. Eartha instantly picked up the monster's presence nearby. Ilhan noted the leopard's boldness, assuming it relied on stealth, which hadn't detected them yet, Eartha said. Ilhan slammed a heavy post into the ground, making plenty of noise. He wondered aloud how long he could keep the leopard spooked. Pulling another post from his pack, he hammered it in as well. Ilhan thought it strange. The monster hadn't attacked despite the loud noises. Eartha doubted the leopard had even spotted him. Eartha explained Ilhan's stealth outmatched the leopard's, hiding weapons and traps perfectly. Ilhan marveled the leopard hadn't noticed a trap set just steps away. Eartha joked Ilhan was born for assassination and should pick that subclass soon. She reminded him not to miss this perfect advantage. Right after, Ilhan spotted something off nearby. A massive, translucent paw with sharp claws appeared on the ground. The leopard passed calmly, unaware of Ilhan's presence. The moment to strike had come. Ilhan prepared to attack. The beast's red eyes glowed ominously in the dim light. The system notified a 10% damage boost thanks to stealth and spear skills. Ilhan figured the system counted harpoons as spears, granting the bonus. Without hesitation, Ilhan launched his harpoons straight at the leopard. The harpoon flew true, hitting the target dead center. Moments later, the harpoon's tip pierced the monster's body. The leopard let out a fierce roar, clearly hurting. Ilhan noted the beast was half his mother's size but still ranked as third class. Despite stealth and spear boosts, the harpoon only pierced halfway, Ilhan observed. Eartha pointed out that the leopard's stealth specialization lowered its health and defense compared to typical third-class monsters. The Celestial advised to be thankful the monster's only serious skill was stealth. Just as they spoke, the leopard spotted Ilhan and charged without hesitation. Eartha quickly warned Ilhan of the incoming attack. Ilhan dodged just in time, surprised by the leopard's speed. The rope hit its limit, and the harpoon halted the leopard's advance. The beast froze, stuck and wincing from pain. It struggled again, but the rope made from its mother's skin held steady. Ilhan confirmed the rope was holding strong. He lunged and grabbed a second harpoon ready to strike. A swift throw sent the harpoon flying toward the leopard. The second harpoon hit critical, right in the leopard's shoulder. Ilhan felt confident, the plan unfolding perfectly. He had no clue what was coming next. Injured but fierce, the leopard swung its paw and struck Ilhan. The hit shattered Ilhan's protective armbands instantly. The force sent Ilhan flying backward with a grunt. Ilhan frowned, annoyed his bone blades were broken. He shook it off, relieved his arms were fine, and he could repair defenses soon. Eartha mused the awkward arm guards had actually helped, unfortunately. The leopard wasn't done, launching another fierce paw strike. Ilhan barely dodged in time. His quick reflexes saved him. Catching his breath, Ilhan asked about the move. Eartha deadpanned it was just a skill. What else could it be? Ilhan realized the leopard's third-class rank came with plenty of sneaky tricks. The beast roared fiercely, fueled by a fierce thirst for revenge. Even tied down tight, the leopard refused to quit chasing its target. Ilhan noticed resistance only made things worse, a tough lesson for the leopard. The beast's teeth gnawed relentlessly, determined not to surrender. Eartha urged Ilhan to throw more harpoons before the rope got shredded. Ilhan hadn't expected the leopard to slice ropes from a distance. He'd once thought monsters were just brute force. Now he faced creatures that defied all logic and expectations. The danger ahead suddenly felt much bigger. Approaching with harpoon ready, Ilhan narrowly dodged the leopard's furious swipe. He struck the leopard a third time with a precise swing. The harpoon found its mark right on the front paw. Crippling that paw meant no more long-range attacks. Eartha praised Ilhan's skill. Ilhan jokingly introduced himself as Ishmael, only to find Eartha clueless about the classic. Eartha warned him not to relax. The fight was far from over. Suddenly, Ilhan's name echoed through the air. He spun around, but the leopard had vanished without a trace. Eartha remarked the beast's stealth was next level, unmatched by anything else. Just then, a car sped toward Ilhan's position. The Empress leaned from the window, lightning crackling around her outstretched hand. Without hesitation, she unleashed a double lightning strike at the unseen leopard. Kangmire's electric attack struck dead center, shocking the beast. The leopard had sneaked up right behind Ilhan the whole time. The Empress stepped out, smiling, curious how the monster was caught so quickly. Ilhan blinked in surprise, realizing Kangmire had arrived just in time. Gathering himself, he thought lightning wasn't the best answer to casual questions. It was clear to him, this girl was anything but ordinary. Ilhan kept admiring the Empress's lightning. It packed serious power for a first class. Suddenly, a shift behind him caught Ilhan's attention. The leopard shook off the shock, flexing its paw again. Rising fiercely, the beast let out a chilling roar. The battle wasn't finished. Time for the team to step up together. Ilhan drove the post firmly into the ground, ready to act. He readied himself for another strike. A fourth harpoon landed, tightening the monster's bind. One more paw was locked down. Ilhan urged caution. This beast was tough, and the post might not last long. He checked with Kangmire, who was ready to strike again with lightning. She added she'd pack a bigger punch after a short recharge. Ilhan asked for a heads-up before any big hits. The beast writhed, desperate to break free. Fueled by rage, it aimed straight for its foes. Eartha noted the leopard still had mana. Ilhan already suspected it. The leopard's blazing red eyes locked on its target. Ilhan recognized that deadly glare, one he'd faced many times before. The beast's desperation made it stronger, reminding Ilhan of past solo hunts. Ilhan recalled how creatures often shine brightest when pushed to their limits. Like a last blaze before the void, the animal's spirit flared with fierce resolve. Sungane Bolt launched another strike, this time aiming straight for the leopard's skull. The beast let out a scream loud enough to rattle the clouds. It shook off the pain and scrambled to retaliate. Turns out the leopard really had mana, its eyes locked on Ilhan. Ilhan dodged by a hair. Yeep, that thing packed a serious punch. The Celestial's warning echoed, something about bleeding minerals and extra evil vibes. The Empress got her bearings and geared up for another round. Lightning struck again, but the leopard barely flinched. Kang Meyer's shot bounced off like rubber, nearly dented the getaway ride. The Empress noted the lightning wasn't cutting it. Getting close wouldn't be easy. The leopard thrashed and twisted, still fighting the binds. Ilhan couldn't believe the thing's sheer stubbornness. Sungane looked about ready to rip some limbs if it didn't quit. Timing was everything. He'd need the Empress prepped before pulling another stunt. Feeling the urgency, and maybe the carbs, he vaulted onto Kang Mei's car. Perched on the roof, he threw a hopeful glance toward the magical arsenal. No words, just a machine gun handed over by the driver. She raised an eyebrow. Wasn't that enough firepower? Sungane waved it off. Random thoughts could wait for later. Kang threw the classic question, ever handled one of these before? Ilhan didn't blink. Earth weapons were basically his hobby. He leapt off and sprinted off without explanation. She admitted, anyone else saying that would sound nuts, but he, plausible. Celestia guessed the hesitation, vanity over bullet damage. Eartha read him like a billboard. With spear tactics off the table, Ilhan advanced with a rifle, pillars wobbling, odds iffy. A sudden cry cut through the chaos, danger incoming. Ilhan looked up just in time to spot a giant paw and a post flying loose. The rope held firm. Ilhan beamed, but Eartha shut the celebration down fast. The Empress stayed seated, eyes locked on the beast's every move. Lita braced for her next strike. Kang Mei called out, almost ready herself. The remaining poles weren't looking too sturdy, just a matter of time now. Ilhan aimed with flair. Eartha quietly corrected the drama. It's just an earth monster. First shot, right in the eye, bullseye. The beast staggered, bleeding and bellowing from the brutal hits. The system dinged, maxed out shooting already. Even Eartha was impressed. A weird glow started leaking from the leopard's damaged eye. The Empress blinked. Was that rifle enchanted or just overachieving? Eartha figured something had to be up. No way a plain rifle hit that hard. Turns out, Ilhan's skill was carrying the rifle, not the other way around. Ilhan steadied himself and gave Kang Mei the magic signal. She shouted back, 7 seconds more? Just 7. He didn't mind waiting. The mental clock ticked down. 2 seconds left. He ditched the rifle and freed his hands. He sprinted forward, only moments left before the leopard broke loose. The last pole gave way. The monster was now completely unrestrained. A mouthful of razor teeth lunged toward Ilhan with zero hesitation. It hit him. He was the distraction, and the Empress the real target. Kang Mei was back in full force. Triple lightning incoming. Her strike zeroed in on the leopard's head. Maybe beauty could stop the beast. The blast lit up the whole battlefield like daylight had crashed the party. Kang Mei strained to keep the lightning going, her energy fading fast. The charge fizzled out. She slumped, breathless, hoping it had been enough. Ilhan could tell this fight wasn't over. The thing was still way too powerful. The leopard shimmered, stealth mode again. Ilhan spotted it just in time. The Empress froze, stunned. A few more seconds and the beast would vanish. The monster's skin lit up, wrapped in a red glowing armored shell. Ilhan, unlike Kang, looked totally unfazed by the shift. He pivoted sharply, charging in with weapon ready. The stealth trick never fooled him, and he made it known with ease. He struck again, this time hard enough to floor the creature. The beast hit the dirt, convulsing in pain. Kang Mei blinked in disbelief. How was he seeing through that stealth? Ilhan skipped the explanations. He had a new plan and zero time to waste. He grabbed the ropes and moved fast, weaving them like a pro. The system chimed in, binding skill, mastered. Eartha tilted her head. Why wasn't he finishing it? He glanced her way, something else clearly on his mind. A quick look back. Yep, the Empress had stepped out. She stood there puzzled, eyes silently asking what came next. His mask stayed on, keeping his expression a complete mystery. He made a cheeky proposal, team up, or let him hog the XP again. That caught her off guard, totally not what she expected. She composed herself fast and accepted the handshakes. As hands met, the system dinged, team formed, 2 members, synced. He peeked at the monitor, and whatever he saw made him freeze. A sudden realization hit him. He could now sense his teammate's stats. That felt new. Kang Mei looked both baffled and curious. She shot him a look, wondering if this was really his first time teaming up. He brushed it off with a vague excuse and strolled over to the bound beast. The leopard lay still, one eye shut, clearly defeated. Ilhan approached quietly, weapon in hand, offering a silent goodbye. One clean strike sealed it. A flood of experience hit, level 36, unlocked, stats up across the board. The system logged the leopard, level 102, officially defeated. Eartha looked amused. One fight, and he'd jumped 8 levels. Ilhan grabbed his head, queasy from the sudden level spike. He muttered, wondering if he accidentally hogged all the XP. That couldn't be fair, right? Eartha reasoned that third-class monsters gave crazy XP, but with diminishing returns at higher levels. She added that his title probably came with XP penalties. Typical. He exhaled, relieved the brain fog had lifted. With the beast down, he figured it was time to salvage what he could. He paused, caught up in a quiet moment of thought. And Bolt clung to the fallen creature, quietly mourning and blaming himself for the loss. Ilhan mused aloud about crafting top-tier armor from third-class hide. Eartha stayed silent, no objections there. He sighed, deciding to salvage whatever hadn't been ruined. One slice into the skull and he froze. Something unexpected had caught his eye. Inside was a mana stone. Jackpot. Eartha lit up. Both leopard and cub had mana stones. Talk about lucky. She explained that mana stones form when mana gets trapped at death. Not every kill yields one. It's all about the timing, Celestia noted. Eartha added a fun fact. Only a 17% drop rate, and lower-tier monsters had better odds. Eartha couldn't help but think this guy had absurdly good luck. After some hunting around, he finally locked onto a worthy target. Reaching into the remains, he found a glowing red mana stone. Third-class monsters never disappointed. It clicked. The stone was one of the keys for skill evolution. A few more steps to go. He hesitated, unsure whether to split the loot. Maybe a second opinion would hurt. She rubbed her temples, comparing XP's 1.5 million on her end. His? A whopping 3. She did the math and felt short-changed. He insisted she'd made all the difference. The compliment landed. She clearly appreciated it. After a pause, she asked for his name, catching him a little off guard. That nickname had clearly overstayed its welcome. He finally introduced himself properly. Yoo Ilhan. She offered a deal. He keeps the mana stone, she takes half the carcass. Fair enough. He double-checked. Really okay with just half considering the effort? She threw out a curious question about the most important job these days. Her questions kept coming. He wasn't quite ready for this kind of interview. After a beat, he declared, Carcass Master, no use slaying monsters if you can't handle the aftermath. She acknowledged his skills, clean, precise, and worth more than gold. Without delay, he got to work, dagger in, carving expertly. Meanwhile, she made a quick call, kept it brief, and hung up. Eartha noted she was well-connected, smart, capable, and not someone to ignore. Still carving, he mulled over how to respond to Eartha. She gently asked if she'd touched a nerve. It wouldn't be the first time. Deep down, he wondered how she understood loneliness so well. At last, he wiped his brow. Job complete. The beast was fully processed. She gave the signal. Time to load up the spoils onto the trucks. She turned to him with gratitude. They'd stopped the monster just in time. He offered a genuine thanks. Her support had made a difference. Out of the blue, she asked him to pretend their team-up never happened. He blinked, completely thrown off by the sudden request. For a second, he worried he'd offended her, but she quickly cleared the air. She admitted feeling outmatched. There was a wide skill gap she couldn't ignore. He relaxed, only for her to declare she'd return stronger and ask again. He nodded thoughtfully. Maybe he'd consider it down the road. She laughed, offered her hand, and teased him for staying so rational. They shook hands, and right on cue, the system announced their team had disbanded. He felt a mix of freedom and loss. Teammates no more, but lighter somehow. A quick glance confirmed it. No more team window, just solo stats now. Her ride signaled it was time to head out. She rushed to catch up, asking for one more moment. She casually asked for his number. He didn't see that coming. Noticing his hesitation, she turned on the charm. With a soft smile and playful hair flip, she promised discretion. He lowered his gaze, taking a quiet moment to think it through. Flashes of her in battle replayed in his head. Strong, focused, trustworthy. He needed to settle the question. Could he really trust her? She'd earned his confidence. No more doubts. His mind was made up. He trusted her. Simple as that. Decision made. He agreed to share his number. Phone out. Call sent. Connection established. She had his number now. Mission accomplished. She hopped in the car and assured him she'd be in touch. He admitted to Eartha, first time getting a girl's number. She sighed, mildly unimpressed by his excitement. And he grumbled that all he earned was others' approval. She called that even more depressing. Back in his workshop, he flicked on the system. Time for a well-earned ego boost. Flipping through logs, he was stunned. Earlier today, taking down a third-class beast felt like fantasy. He beamed. Karma was real, clearly. Eartha didn't mind the burst of cheer. He questioned the tone, sounded less like praise. She insisted it totally was. Troll shortage, the main roadblock to evolving. Eartha mused others would have just world-hopped. That hit a nerve. He wasn't stuck on Earth by choice. Interdimensional travel just wasn't on the menu. She reassured him. Mana levels were spiking. Trolls would come knocking soon enough. He asked, was troll blood really a must-have for his evolution kit? She nodded. Nailed it. Then came the twist. Sure, if he could survive the lethal poison in it. With each chat, the danger scale climbed. Basic poison, strong poison, now deadly. She warned, don't even think about snacking on monster meat. Only lunatics would try it. The real challenge, she said, was one-shotting sleeping second-class monsters. He glanced at his spear. It needed serious upgrades. He eyed Eartha, asked for Harkinium. Denied, flat out. She warned, it'd throw everything off. Lending the forged tools might have been a mistake. He better craft something great before she reclaimed them. No point arguing. He rolled up his sleeves and got to it. His leopard bone harpoon still had fight left, just needed a few tweaks. He sorted through monster bits, eyeing the tendons. Useful? Maybe? Something startled him. He dropped the tendons mid-thought. One chunk sailed right into the roaring forge fire. He winced. Those were meant for antidote making. Eartha scoffed. They'd rot long before that happened. He stared, transfixed. Whatever that was, it wasn't normal fire. Eternal flame, maybe? Right before their eyes, the tendon began to morph. He turned to her, half accusing. Why hadn't she mentioned this trick? He spotted flickering tongues of fire and half-jokingly treated it like a misbehaving pet. Without missing a beat, he snatched a blazing piece with clawed tools. He dropped it onto the heat-proof slab, visibly impressed by whatever just came out. Bouncing it experimentally, he dubbed it Giant's Rubber Band, because what else could stretch like that? Eartha raised a brow. He pointed out, flexible, yes, but tougher than it looked. He noted the upgrades, fire-hardened, impact-proof, and waterproof. Basically, the superhero of materials. A wild thought struck. This stuff could build the most overpowered bounce house ever. Eartha blinked. Of all things, a bounce house? He laid out the plan, like a firearm, but it fires stakes. Add tendons, and now it's a crossbow on steroids. The Eliminator wouldn't win any points for user-friendliness, but its raw power? Unreal, like something out of a game. He tossed the rubber band back into the flames, ditching gunpowder for sheer stretch power. He grinned, finally, something that gave back more than it took. Even Eartha had to admit he'd unlocked a ridiculous, borderline infinite energy source. His creativity continued to catch her off guard. The ideas just didn't stop. She was already curious about what absurd invention would come next. He planned to fine-tune the weapon's output to match his own max strength. For ammo, he picked leopard fangs, stronger and sharper than anything else on hand. Soon, the table filled with sleek stakes, all carved from a single giant fang. He suggested reinforcing it with mana stone. Eartha waved it off. It was overkill. If he really wanted to take on another third-class beast before troll season, now was the time to go all in. He scratched his head, thought better of it. No thanks. No monster battles today. He made a solemn vow to fetch a mana stone eventually. Eartha sighed. This guy never quit. Months later, his wild new weapon, codenamed the Eliminator, was fully operational. All that remained? Stringing the rubber band onto the leopard fang's stake. He told Eartha the weapon had 3 power settings, because why settle for 1? He gave the lever a shot, nearly spraying something in the process. A reflexive cry for Mom slipped out. Eartha reminded him, wrong dimension. He wrestled with the mechanism until it finally obeyed. He wiped his brow, expecting bad news. Eartha casually said, 2 seconds, tops. He realized charging mid-fight would be a no-go, unless his enemies politely waited. At level 3, he figured he'd be crying out to Great-Grandpa. He leveled up to 2 and instantly regretted everything. 10 seconds felt like 10 years. 2 minutes nearly killed him. The system chimed in, debuff complete, weapon stats through the roof. Made from ghost leopard parts, certified top tier. No magic, no gunpowder, all muscle, great design, lousy portability. Still, the new alpha version promised faster charges with 0 mana fuss. Eartha pointed out the obvious, it's 3 meters long. He figured she'd complain about a toothpick next. He shrugged, it might come in handy for a giant someday. Time to downsize? Next on the list, monster mini-weapons. Eartha suggested a break. It was literally a morning day outside. He was already elbows deep in blueprints. Breaks were for mortals. The system scrambled to keep up. New trap done, mana crafting hit level 24, and his efficiency just skyrocketed. Another trap finished, casually tossed aside like yesterday's project. The angels finally caught their breath, only to gape at the trap's bonus features and overflow potential. 17 traps down, though only 11 were planned. Somehow, just 8 more remained. He suspected overflow shenanigans were messing with the math. Eartha gave him points for catching on so fast. The traps were so good they powered up every other trap like global Wi-Fi. If all the monsters fell into one mega trap, it'd be chaos of the worst kind. And that would leave all the other traps very lonely. Eartha posed a question. If he baited monsters with mana in empty zones, what did he think was going to happen? He wondered if humans got caught instead. Eartha quickly shut that down. Eartha clarified, trap collisions with Akashic records spawn fresh, nasty monsters. He asked for a 5-year-old version. Eartha said, picture a monster breaking free by chewing its cage. The overflow finally clicked, and it scared him. Main goal now: avoid third-class monsters at all costs. Killing the ghost leopard was luck. It relied on stealth. Beating one head-on, not happening solo. He admitted his current strength wouldn't cut it against those beasts. Celestia planned to cut down trap numbers to keep things from spiraling. A fresh angel grumbled about Earth's endless surprises. The real irritant? Yoo Ilhan's stubborn streak. The angel suggested tighter supervision. Ilhan didn't miss how serious that sounded. Eartha stepped up, defending Ilhan. He wasn't some puppet. Her orders: help, not restrict. He added with a huff. No one told her to babysit or cap his skills. The long-haired angel didn't appreciate Eartha's sass, calling her stubborn. Eartha didn't back down, summoning her angelic mana with a confident gesture. Suddenly, a glowing sword materialized in her grasp. She leveled the blade at Ciota, suggesting he mind his own business instead of bossing her. Ciota was visibly stunned. Eartha's bold move was not what he expected. Teeth clenched, Ciota locked eyes with the sword tip inches from his nose. Ilhan shared Ciota's disbelief. Eartha's fierce side was new territory. He'd never witnessed Eartha this riled up before. Other angels sided with Eartha. Ciota was meddling where he shouldn't. They soothed Eartha, insisting Ciota meant no harm, just clumsy interference. Watching all this, Ilhan realized angels were just humans with a power-up. Even Eartha looked like a regular girl when emotions ran high. The angels grabbed the traps and headed off. Ciota vanished skyward first, silent as ever. Eartha perched on Ilhan's head as they watched the celestials vanish into the glowing sky. Angelica hinted Ilhan had glimpsed a rare, guarded side of her, not something shared lightly. Ilhan found it surprising but refreshing. Angels with real feelings? Who knew? Eartha insisted angels left petty feelings behind long ago. They were on a higher plane. Ilhan smiled, noting Ciota wasn't exactly emotion-free either. Celestia praised Ilhan's unique charm. He didn't quite get why it applied to him. Angel clarified, his skills were so sharp they'd make even angels jealous. Ilhan hadn't expected such praise from Eartha at all. Once he processed it, Ilhan just smiled and shrugged off the compliment as overhype. Eartha got serious, telling him he actually underrated himself. She mused he simply didn't see his own worth. Still, she figured low self-regard wasn't all bad. Confidence might just make someone challenge gods. Angel paused, studying Ilhan quietly. Ilhan caught that look, curious what she was thinking, but Eartha decided not to dwell on it. Later, Celestia mentioned she had news about the reward for the trap assignment. Ilhan crossed his arms, expecting only a cash prize. Eartha smiled slyly, hinting he'd rethink that once he heard her plan. Rumor had it a new metal showed up in a dungeon on Earth. Angel was ready to spill the location. Ilhan's interest spiked. He wanted that location ASAP. Without hesitation, Ilhan packed up and headed outside. He wandered, eyes peeled for any sign of life. He remarked, puzzled, about the eerily empty outdoors. Angel guessed the silence might remind Ilhan of his lonely Earth days. Ilhan shrugged it off, saying it felt different this time. He believed everyone would return eventually. There were still fighters like the Empress standing against monsters on Earth. Suddenly, Ilhan felt less alone. He knew others were still out there. Eartha brightened up at Ilhan's hopeful realization. The city faded behind as Ilhan stepped deeper into the forest. Eartha quietly guided him toward the right path all along. Ilhan spotted a glowing portal and glanced at Eartha, guessing it led inside. He felt lucky the dungeon was nearby, in Korea, and reachable by foot. The emergency locked down the borders. No boats, no planes, no exits. Ilhan briefly pondered DIY airplanes, but Eartha urged him to stop dreaming and get moving. Ilhan reached out, fingertips brushing the portal's shimmering shield. Suddenly, a system alert popped up. Entry denied for anyone under level 50. Ilhan nudged Eartha, silently reminding her he was stuck at level 36. Celestia raised an eyebrow as if to say, "Did you forget who I am?" Ilhan cheekily dubbed Eartha rude for ignoring his rights. She fired back she was a top-tier trapmaster. Focusing hard, Eartha gestured sharply at the portal's entrance. Instantly, the system confirmed. Restrictions lifted, entry granted. Eartha gave the green light. Ilhan noted she was way more helpful than expected. Angelica silently reminded herself, Ilhan better remember how valuable she was. Ilhan didn't hesitate, stepping forward to try again. This time, success. Ilhan was instantly pulled inside the trap. His jaw nearly dropped, overwhelmed by the intense energy pulsing all around. He scanned his surroundings, noting rugged stone cave walls. Strange materials caught his eye, likely the very reason for this trip. Ilhan was eager to understand the place. Eartha reminded him he'd built the trap himself. Suddenly, glasses slid onto Eartha's nose. Quiz mode activated. Eartha quizzed Ilhan on monster origins. He quickly explained they emerge once the atmosphere hits a certain concentration. She shifted gears, asking who lurks in abandoned rice jars. Ilhan named rice weevils without missing a beat. The quiz moved on to messy rooms full of food scraps. Cockroaches, Ilhan answered instantly. Eartha compared monsters to weevils and cockroaches, thriving where conditions fit. Odd examples that made perfect sense to Ilhan. Ilhan wondered aloud why Eartha bothered with the strange analogies. Eartha clarified his mission: hunt dungeon monsters and collect their hearts. She casually dropped that these hearts were the first metal discovered on Earth. The revelation hit Ilhan like lightning. He froze, stunned. He was puzzled why she'd waited so long to spill the metal secret. Ilhan blinked, questioning if monster hearts really counted as metal. His mind raced. Why reveal this now? He'd been gearing up to mine rocks, not hunt hearts. Eartha cleared it up. The deal was to find metal, not dig it out. Ilhan finally connected the dots. This was hunting, not mining. Eartha raised an impressed eyebrow at his gear haul. Ilhan removed his helmet, ready to spill his strategy. He revealed his enchanted bag, magically expanded to carry way more than it should, too handy to ignore. Eartha noted the bag was a quest reward with limits. No magic to lighten the load, though. Ilhan confidently claimed he could haul tons. Eartha blinked, genuinely impressed by human endurance. Ilhan wasn't finished. Another thought was brewing. He pointed out the glowing spots looked like mining nodes. Eartha confirmed they were all monsters. Angelica agreed, noticing Ilhan's bummed expression. He admitted feeling spoiled on the surprise. Ilhan lamented missing the thrill of mining, then getting ambushed. Eartha raised an eyebrow, questioning if that was really his goal. Ilhan dipped into his bag, ready to try something fresh. He unveiled a beast of a weapon, the Metal Monster, a rare heavy combat destroyer with hammer and axe strikes over 1200 power. Eartha praised the idea, crafted from ghost leopard bones. It packed serious power and even had an alpha mode, no crafting mana wasted. Eartha mused. Whatever Ilhan touched turned rare class. Just another day for someone this capable. Ilhan admitted he wouldn't activate his weapon's best feature just for mining metal. He swung hard, focusing every ounce of energy into the strike. His eyes blazed with fierce determination, bordering on madness. The system called it a critical hit. 137,000 XP flooded in, unlocking a level 51 metal heart achievement. Ilhan maxed out blunt weapon skills, but evolution waited on rare materials. Surprised by one-hit kills on stone monsters, Eartha praised him quietly. A glowing stone appeared, the metal monster's heart, its core and mana source, explaining why no mana stones were needed. When threatened, the metal heart boosts its defense with mana, often needing a distraction attack tactic. Ilhan guessed the monster was weak for a class 2, vulnerable mainly to surprise hits. He knew danger creeps in once attention drops. Ilhan joked that characters die because they get cocky, thinking the fight's easier than it is. Reality, however, had other plans. No sneaky ambush came. His adventure skipped the cliches. The system pinged a level 38 up, strength boosted by 2, dexterity, health, and mana each by 1. Ilhan wondered if the dungeon was always this dull. Eartha suggested it was just. He pressed on. The scenery stayed the same, with monsters dropping here and there. Every stone monster fell to a single strike, critical or not. Frustration crept in. He'd hoped for thrills, but this was more snooze than action. Eartha asked how he maxed blunt weapons after spear and hand combat. Ilhan answered with a metaphor. All paths merge at mastery. Eartha stayed quiet when odd noises broke the calm. The system alerted a massive level 74 metal heart ahead, finally some real challenge. Ilhan noted the monster's size, much bigger than usual. Angelica confirmed it was 20 levels above the others. Ilhan's excitement spiked. Time to test his weapon in a real fight. He readied his level 3 straggler weapon, prompting an eye roll from Eartha. Clearly, her ward came packed for every scenario imaginable. Ilhan launched himself into the air, ready for action. The jackhammer primed. This monster was done before it began. The stake struck true, cracks spidering across the stone heart. One hit was all it took, even against this high-level beast. XP soared, 548,000 points earned, and a new level 74 big metal heart unlocked. Ilhan smirked, pleased with the knockout blow. The stake itself was now riddled with cracks. One and done. No reusing this weapon. It was clearly a single-use deal. Ilhan pondered how to recycle the weapon. Eartha said to save that brainwork, monster hearts first. Inspecting his loot, he noticed the big metal heart was tougher than the rest. Eartha explained the king of metal hearts was just a regular type, super durable but too high level to appear here. Ilhan teased her for jinxing things, as usual. Eartha claimed it was luck. Metal hearts were recent arrivals, and big ones here were rare as hen's teeth. Sweat beaded on Angelica's forehead. Her confidence was about to be tested. Ilhan spotted another metal heart. Eartha groaned. Earth always ruined her predictions. Quick on his feet, Ilhan ditched the debuff and readied his unique hammer with 1974 power. Charging forward, Ilhan's grin was unmatched. Eartha figured he was the happiest guy alive. Days passed in the cave. Ilhan hit level 40 with boosts to dexterity, strength, health, and mana. Hammer slung, Ilhan checked in. Eartha confirmed the dungeon was cleared with a promise of return trips. Ilhan secretly hoped the King of Metal Hearts would show up next run. Noticing Eartha's odd vibe, he guessed something big was brewing. Eartha admitted surprise that an ancient destructive trap built this dungeon. Nothing dangerous, though. Judging by her tone, Ilhan figured a major event was definitely incoming. Ilhan knew well, when Eartha sounds normal, trouble's just around the corner. A sudden chill on his back signaled a portal opening right behind him. Ilhan glanced back, spotting familiar figures landing nearby. The angels, known for clearing his destructive traps, had arrived again. He waited briefly before the latest update came through. The destructive territories on Earth were officially sealed and ready. Countless dungeons across the world sprang to life in sequence. Monsters started vanishing from city streets, drawn elsewhere. Dungeon energy lured monsters in, effectively locking them away. With predators contained, a wave of calm and safety settled over people. Evening news celebrated peace returning to Korea, Japan, China, and neighbors. Ilhan caught whispers of fewer tasks from the other world. Tired of the updates, he switched off the TV without a second thought. Eartha explained rewards were cut to push humans back to Earth. Dungeons activated, monsters waiting. He connected the dots. His parents' return was imminent amid the chaos. Eartha was curious about Ilhan's new gear, but he admitted exhaustion kept testing on hold. Yawning, Ilhan confessed to no sleep after dungeon work. Eartha urged him to rest. Despite fatigue, Ilhan insisted he had work. Those traps weren't going to remove themselves. His first move was forging armor embedded with a metal heart. The system hailed it as a rare black armor, super durable, stealthy, with defense and surprise attack boost. Crafted from the rarest metal heart, it was a flawless masterpiece blending protection, style, and deadly perks. Ilhan tossed the idea of more options to Eartha, who gave an approving nod. Eartha greenlit, activating the extra options immediately. The extra perks boosted surprise attack power, stealth strikes, and combined spear use for massive damage. Eartha concluded some serious emphasization was needed to sharpen the gear's edge further. Without mana crafting, triple variants were insane. Only Ilhan's legendary creator status could pull that off. Eartha warned Ilhan against selling triple option gear, too risky to reveal such power casually. Ilhan wasn't done yet. A spark in his eye hinted at dreaming up gear with 4 options. Eartha's playful patience snapped. Her glare warned Ilhan to tread carefully, prompting a swift apology. Eartha officially dubbed 3-option gear Gamma Options, while Ilhan silently hoped for something cooler. Ilhan shifted focus, crafting a weapon from the Stone Heart's remnants. Eartha wondered if the spear was retired. Proud of his new weapon, Ilhan felt he'd officially outgrown his old gear. Old gear destined for the eternal flame. No room for clutter here. The moment Ilhan tossed the weapon into the fire, the system confirmed the eternal flame's level had climbed. That flame was clearly no ordinary blaze. Its level was soaring fast. Curious, Ilhan questioned the flame's purpose, but Eartha shrugged, leaving mysteries for another time. Fatigue finally hit, and with a big yawn, Ilhan called it a night. No second thoughts, he headed for the workshop door, ready to crash. Eartha lingered briefly, eyes fixed on the flickering eternal flame, puzzled but silent. The door shut softly, leaving the workshop in peaceful silence. Exhausted, Ilhan raced home, barely awake, heading straight to bed without pause. Dawn arrived fast. Ilhan dragged himself out of bed, barely awake. A surprising scent and sound told Ilhan he wasn't alone after all. Fresh breakfast smells filled the air. His parents were quietly going about their morning. Happiness flooded him, finally reunited with parents he'd missed terribly. At the table, Ilhan demolished his mom's cooking at lightning speed, leaving her wide-eyed and teasing him to slow down. Memories of surviving on jerky flashed, making his praise for mom's cooking heartfelt and loud. Dad left early, racing to work before the monster's siren. Ilhan marveled at his dedication despite the hour. The cut in support meant Dad had to prove himself quickly to keep his job. With a coworker gone hunter, Dad's fear of monsters kept him grinding at work. Proof those work memes are real. Watching Dad leave, a sudden idea lit up Ilhan's mind. Without hesitation, Ilhan dashed after him, asking for something to wear on the go. A simple-looking long-sleeve t-shirt surprisingly protected against monsters, leaving Dad impressed and curious about where Ilhan scored such rare gear. Ilhan dodged details, claiming luck, and mentioned matching gear for Mom. Dad appreciated the care, grateful for his son's thoughtfulness. Mom and Ilhan saw Dad off with warm wishes for a safe day ahead. Mom brought up university's reopening, casually checking if Ilhan planned to dive back into classes. Ilhan wasn't sold on college just yet, feeling it wasn't the right time. Mom didn't mind. Her belief in Ilhan's path was clear and supportive. Ilhan felt a warm glow from Mom's faith, thankful to have family back. He offered Mom another protective shirt, perfect even against tough second-class monster blows. And Mom got distracted by Ilhan's backpack, imagining it as a shopping bag, but Ilhan wasn't ready to part with it. After breakfast, Ilhan stepped out into bright, cheerful sunshine. The nice weather sped him along to his workshop in no time. Opening the door, Ilhan froze. Something inside the workshop had clearly changed overnight. Shocked, he wondered how a single night could transform his space so much. The workshop had upgraded itself, big time, and for the better. The eternal flame stove looked sturdier, like it had leveled up. Fresh tools had appeared on the workbench, ready for action. Eartha revealed these heavenly tools were a reward, crafted from rare metals Earth wouldn't see until leveling up. The system confirmed task completion, creating destructive paste, and Ilhan felt grateful, promising to make good use of it all. But wait, there's more. Stats jumped by 5 points, plus a bonus reward for nailing the task. Next up, a hefty book appeared, teaching poison resistance. Even the worst rank 4 stuff couldn't touch him now. Ilhan's eyes lit up. This rare skill meant troll meat was suddenly on the menu. For the grand finale, Eartha dropped the Troll Dungeon's location right into his lap. Looks like the journey would take Ilhan all the way to the US for the next challenge. No time to waste, Ilhan headed straight for Incheon Airport ready to fly. As he entered the terminal, Ilhan quietly admitted to Eartha it was his first ever flight. The Celestial reminded Ilhan he'd forgotten something important. Passport and visa were missing. Ilhan had no way to travel officially. The Angel's point hit home. Still, Ilhan seemed unfazed, already cooking up a workaround. He planned to skip the rules and sneak his way out instead. Humming like nothing was wrong, Ilhan breezed past the registration desks. His mind raced, piecing together the perfect scheme for this stealthy trip. His humming annoyed the Celestial, who quickly told him to pipe down. On board and settled, Ilhan bragged about his stealth, with Eartha confirming no tech, magical or not, could spot him. Just then, a flight attendant rolled through with a cart and drink menu. Ilhan casually grabbed a blue soda without drawing any attention. The attendant didn't notice, but guessed he hadn't taken enough drinks. Glancing out the window, Ilhan spotted a fighter jet zooming close by. Eartha explained the jet was controlled by a skilled user to defend against airborne monsters, justifying the pricey tickets. A quick layover in LA was necessary to reach Arizona and the Troll Dungeon. Eartha stayed optimistic. This trip would finally go off without a hitch. Ilhan caught the familiar warning sign whenever she said that trouble was brewing. Sure enough, chaos erupted as a monster suddenly showed up close by. Ilhan predicted Eartha's next line. There must be some mistake, a phrase he'd learned well from her. If Eartha missed the warning, Ilhan was ready to handle the mess himself. Eartha suddenly realized the dreaded prediction was unfolding right now. This was a rare event tied to a destructive trap going haywire. When such traps explode unexpectedly, they unleash waves of mutated monsters. These mutants packed a serious punch, far tougher than the usual foes. The trap's energy warped everything nearby, transforming the environment itself. Ilhan surveyed the scene. Part of the airport had morphed into a stone desert, like a dungeon born from monster overload. Eartha backed up Ilhan's guess, saying redundancy pops up when the world starts shaping into dungeon forms. Strong magic or vanished dungeons might cause it, but Eartha ruled those out this time. The real issue: these mutants can trigger a chain reaction, causing redundancy to snowball between dungeons. Missing a single monster meant another wave of overgrowth was guaranteed. Eartha's warning paused Ilhan, who quickly wondered if there was more to foresee. Missing monsters meant more chaos, and Ilhan would have to hustle hard to fix it. Eartha insisted on stopping the cycle, offering Ilhan a quest with skill and stat rewards. He was all in. Then an enormous blast rocked the left side. Screams filled the air, with shadowy figures pouring through the shattered airport wall. A few bold souls fired guns, hoping to scare the invaders off. One guy shot at a giant croc, but the bullets just bounced harmlessly. The beast growled something about needing to find the tape. Ilhan guessed it was a light-type monster. Eartha warned it was a tough second-class mutant with unique powers. Ilhan confidently reminded Eartha his armor and spear were more than ready. The system proudly listed his weapon, Black Spear of the Reaper of Death, 2,400 strike power, a 30% crit chance on surprise attacks, 1,700 strength. Crafted from a legendary metal heart, this spear was a master's magnum opus, made for one man with deathly stealth powers. Ilhan took to the air, spear piercing the giant lizard's head in one clean strike. The system credited him for the kill. Proud and pumped, Ilhan admired the spear's deadly efficiency. Eartha noted the beast had no monostone, but hinted its parts were worth grabbing post-battle. Crowds gathered, jaws dropped at how fast Ilhan had taken down the fire lizard. Ilhan realized stealth only went so far. Standing out still meant being seen. Meanwhile, the fire lizard lunged, flames roaring to life in its mouth. A towering column of fire exploded where Ilhan had just stood. Ilhan dodged just in time, recognizing the attack from the airport wall blast. Deciding enough was enough, Ilhan chose to step outside and face whatever came. The fire outpaced him, forcing Ilhan to halt and confront the blaze head-on. The lizard's fiery blast engulfed Ilhan's head in searing flames. The crowd gasped, convinced their hero had been taken down. As smoke cleared, fingers poking up reassured the onlookers. Ilhan was equally stunned to survive, now ready to absorb every hit in stride. Clenching his spear tighter, he dove back into the fray. Ilhan realized he wasn't the only one battling the fiery beasts. The crowd rallied, urging fighters to step up and form a team, while the non-combatants fled. Ilhan stood frozen, unaccustomed to such spontaneous courage from civilians. Eartha pointed out the crowd and monsters alike seemed to forget Ilhan's presence, impressive invisibility. Despite the odds, the humans fought with fierce determination. A few magic users in the crowd conjured shields to protect their allies. Ilhan watched the uneven fight unfold, opting to let the crowd prove themselves. It quickly became clear the makeshift team was struggling against the fire lizards. Another lizard unleashed flames directly into the humans. One man was doomed, cornered by fire, until Ilhan jumped in just in time. Spotted at last, Ilhan received a grateful nod from the rescued man. With precise strikes, Ilhan skewered more lizards, spearhead flashing. The massive lizard collapsed, muttering about passing its record to a worthy warrior. Ilhan silently accepted the implied challenge. One final strike ended the beast, rewarding Ilhan with a hefty experience boost. Nearby lizards eyed Ilhan warily, craving his record to evolve further. Ilhan wondered aloud if all monsters obsessed over records and evolution thanks to overabundance. An armored figure thanked Ilhan, voice revealing a woman beneath the helmet. Ilhan advised the newcomer to stay sharp. The fight was far from over. A compliment from a girl boosted Ilhan's ego, but the Celestial mocked him. No one sees his face behind that mask anyway. The battle with the lizards spilled outside, circling the airport building. Another kill granted Ilhan over 430k XP, leveling him up to 44 and boosting strength, agility, health, and mana. The lizards pushed forward relentlessly. Eartha warned Ilhan to target the leader first. He was the root cause of the chaos. Eartha stressed that monsters would keep spawning until the leader fell. Easier said than done. Ilhan mused on how simple it would be to kill them all. Spoiler, it wasn't. The monsters circled Ilhan, eager to claim his record by killing him first. Patience wore thin. These pests were testing his limits. A fireball hurtled toward Ilhan, but his sharp reflexes caught the attack just in time, and his trusty spear deflected the fiery assault effortlessly. The spear's reach let him strike the monster through the flames. Ilhan lunged forward, escaping the fiery vortex with ease. Spectators gawked, stunned that one guy was taking on so many beasts solo. Murmurs spread. Teams struggled with one monster, but this guy wiped out several alone. Ilhan knew rest wasn't an option. One kill would lead straight to the next fight. He soared above the monsters, scanning the horde from above. The move was tactical, spotting the fire lizard leader among the chaos. The leader stood out, bulkier, darker-skinned, tougher than the rest. Ilhan acknowledged Eartha's wisdom and zeroed in, spear poised for the leader. The ear struck true, leveling up to 45, boosted dexterity, strength, health, and mana instantly. Ilhan fretted about managing mana with a second class, but Angelica reassured him, no sweat until level 100, and progress was slow anyway. Suddenly, a loud explosion cracked nearby, grabbing Ilhan's attention. A frantic voice warned the crowd. These monsters exploded on contact. Ilhan caught every word, silently wondering where this new Korean came from. Out of nowhere, a massive lizard loomed directly behind Ilhan. Hearing monsters explode on contact, Ilhan grabbed one by the neck, clearly thrilled to test this explosive tactic himself. He shoved the lizard hard, sending it crashing to the ground like a rag doll. The explosion detonated instantly, flinging rock fragments wildly in every direction. The crowd loved the spectacle but definitely wouldn't volunteer for the same fiery stunt. Ilhan stood right in the blast zone, yet emerged totally unscathed. The monster leader flung a chunk of building debris straight at Ilhan. The beast pivoted and stomped forward, shaking the ground with each heavy step. Ilhan effortlessly leapt onto a nearby rock for better vantage. Balancing felt like a breeze to Ilhan. A surfer taming ocean waves chasing Moby Dick had nothing on this. Another blast erupted, bigger and louder than any before. The crowd feared their hero was toast. No one survives the heart of that firestorm. Moments later, Ilhan appeared, unhurt, clearly expecting the fiery surprise. He reached into his magic bag, ready for his next move. A new weapon materialized, the unique class World Flash debuff. It came with a bonus, 20% boost to charge speed, attack speed, and damage. Crafted from ghost leopard bones and sinew by a master pushing their limits, the jackhammer was one of a kind. Even the system marveled at its magic-free craft, though it was tricky to wield. Metal hearts amplified both strengths and flaws. Ilhan took aim with his super weapon. Time to wrap this up. The strike landed hard, sending the giant lizard tumbling to the ground. Though down, the beast was far from done, wheezing and snapping defiantly. His minions noticed trouble and charged in to protect their leader. Crowd members jumped in, blocking the monsters from reaching the wounded leader. Their efforts gave Ilhan the opening to finish the job. Two monsters collided with Ilhan's razor-sharp sword like flies on a windshield. Switching weapons, Ilhan grabbed the dark greatsword of the stupid giant. Unique class, heavy but boosted strength. Eartha found it oddly amusing. The system announced Ilhan maxed out his swordsmanship and unlocked skill evolution with special components. The Fire Lizard leader's final breath carried a stubborn dream to claim the strong warrior's record. Powerful vibrations hit behind Ilhan, snapping him into alert as he scanned the surroundings. The ground cracked wide, swallowing the area in deep chasms as everything started falling apart. A massive stone wall crumbled, sending crowds scrambling to dodge falling debris. The monster seemed set on hoisting the entire area skyward. Vibrations shook so hard, even the airport and nearby rocks couldn't hold their ground. The scene resembled a disaster flick's climax, the Fire Lizard leader still clinging to life. The leader aimed to drag Ilhan down, skipping the terrified crowd. Tired of the monster's ranting, Ilhan hurled a massive sword straight at its head. Ilhan muttered a sarcastic, "You wish," to the defeated leader. Nearly 1.9 million XP flooded in, plus a new level 91 Fire Lizard record unlocked. Ilhan wondered if mutated monsters really ranked below black leopards. Eartha explained their levels didn't reflect their true power. Despite the huge XP, Ilhan felt a twinge of disappointment. He expected bigger rewards for such a beast. Ilhan suddenly froze, overwhelmed by the sudden spotlight. The crowd closed in, praising his incredible skills and thanking him profusely. A girl and a guy stepped forward. The girl almost leaned in for a grateful kiss. Ilhan recalled meeting this Korean duo earlier. Eartha teased him for a hint of envy. Ilhan wasn't having it. Ilhan assured everyone he was fine but warned about the danger of leaving any monsters alive. The girl asked Haejin about Ilhan's third profession. Haejin doubted anyone had reached that level yet. The blonde admired Ilhan's toughness, claiming he might even outshine Haejin himself. Meanwhile, Ilhan kept knocking out monsters, racking up XP with each kill. Despite his efforts, he suspected one monster would always slip through. Ilhan knew he couldn't move on until every monster was wiped out. One would linger, watching planes fade before fleeing into the woods. Ilhan knew the lone survivor would spark another mutant mess back in Los Angeles. Eartha raised an eyebrow, calling his theory a bit too movie plot for her taste. Ilhan ignored the doubt and tore into the monsters with fresh energy, like a second wind. He moved so quickly, it looked like he'd cloned himself to the crowd. Once their leader fell, the monsters scattered, sensing defeat. One mighty sword swing sliced monsters in half, instantly doubling Ilhan's XP with system alerts. Scanning the scene, Ilhan exhaled. Those lizards were finally toast. Eartha guessed what Ilhan was confident he could handle. A knowing hum confirmed it. The battlefield was now a pile of defeated monsters. Suddenly, the earth beneath Ilhan felt like it was cracking open. His foot slipped into the gap, dragging him down with surprising weight. Ilhan requested weight control on his gear bag. Angelica wasn't surprised. She'd seen this coming. The airport was finally free from those pesky green mutants. A notification popped. Heaven's Quest 3 complete, all stats boosted by 2. Ilhan crushed the quest better than anyone else and scored a special reward. Time for Ilhan's upgrade. Eartha floated up, channeling angelic magic into his bag. 2 angels who'd grabbed the traps earlier landed, curious about the call for help. They asked why they were summoned. Eartha needed backup for some serious mana crafting. The angels instantly caught on to Eartha's plan. Together, the trio funneled mana into Ilhan's bag. The bag looked the same, but now its weight was totally adjustable. Eartha handed the bag to Ilhan, who happily learned he could tweak its weight at will. Ilhan caught the angelic girl giggling at him unexpectedly. Spotting his puzzled look, she admitted watching him earlier from the battlefield. Ilhan was stunned. Angels helped others too. Eartha confirmed. They protect rare ability users for Earth's sake. The angel named Na Yuna came with a favor. Ilhan was to help her when possible, a blessing from the goddess of beauty herself. Eartha warned Paitha to keep Ilhan's powers under wraps. Some secrets were better left untouched. Paitha teased Eartha, amazed she'd ever care so much about a mere mortal. Playfully, Paitha wondered if Eartha had caught feelings for Ilhan, something that would surely anger Lita. Eartha snapped back in irritation. Eartha threatened to send Paitha back to heaven pronto, then reminded Ilhan to be good to Nayuna. After the angels vanished, Eartha asked if Ilhan actually planned to help Nayuna. Ilhan smiled sadly, calling himself an outcast who'd never make the first move. Earth brightened up and promised Ilhan the rest of his rewards despite his gloom. A new skill boosted Ilhan's strength to superhuman levels and worked seamlessly with his mana. Ilhan joked it sounded like a monster's power. Eartha confirmed it mastered every human skill there was. The plane waited on the runway ready for takeoff at a heartbeat's notice. Nayuna settled happily into her airplane seat, all smiles. Scanning the cabin, Nayuna noted the protagonist was missing, but promised he'd show. He suggested she buckle up and keep her voice low. Everyone could hear. Nayuna loved speculating about Ilhan's looks. Her friend rolled his eyes, clearly jealous. Nearby, Ilhan caught every word. Ilhan told Eartha to let him walk past the couple without fuss. Eartha told him to ditch the movie star act as the plane soared higher. Eartha dropped a classic writer's phrase. Ever heard of Chekhov's gun? Chekhov's rule was clear. If a gun appears early, it better fire before the end. Ilhan mulled over that idea as Nayuna and Hojin relaxed, enjoying their campfire meal. Busy cooking and feeding them, Ilhan stayed gruff, telling them to clear out once full. Nayuna begged for more, raving how the meat practically melted in her mouth. Dinner was a wild dish. Scorpion monster meat, definitely not your everyday fare. To explain the chaos, Ilhan knew a trip back was inevitable. His mind flashed to a massive chasm deep in an American canyon. Nayuna and Eartha had witnessed a massive portal with a powerful figure standing before it. Both Ilhan and the Supreme Being stared at the portal, clearly puzzled by what they were seeing. Angelica asked for clarity. Ilhan playfully deferred to her since she was superior. Eartha volunteered to investigate. Eartha mentioned this resembled a troll dungeon. Ilhan wondered why weird things always followed him. Angelica zipped closer to the portal, squinting through the shimmering veil. After a moment, she explained a rare glitch. 2 dungeons merged thanks to overlapping traps, creating one massive maze. Eartha warned Ilhan to watch out. Such a dungeon would hold more than just trolls. Ilhan stepped in but hit a level 50 entry restriction. He told Angelica to cut to the chase. Angelica summed it up with 3 words. 2 bosses awaited. The dungeon spread like a wild green plain. Ilhan spotted a troll and wondered if monsters were all he could perceive here. The troll promptly announced it wanted to rest. No clever tricks, just pure dumb. It flopped down, hands behind its head, ready for a nap. Ilhan was baffled by the troll's instant nap, learning only trolls had that rest skill, and why troll blood mattered. Ilhan smirked, deciding these trolls were a walk in the park. He stalked forward, spear ready. Eartha noted his face looked more like a sneaky thief's than a warrior's. With one clean strike, Ilhan took down his first troll, scoring over 500,000 XP and monster records. He nabbed a rare monster heart and troll blood, ticking off several quest goals while telling Eartha it was surprisingly easy. Pleased, Ilhan wasted no time hunting down the remaining trolls. Meanwhile, Naayuna, Hyjin, and Paitha neared the cave's portal. Hyjin explained the giant dungeon's level 50 cap while the trio prepared. Paitha warned Naayuna to stay sharp. Hyjin was eager to grab scorpion poison and head home. Naayuna dubbed their trip a date, sparking a surprised reaction from her companion. Paitha raised her voice, desperately reminding everyone to be cautious inside. As they stepped through, the portal shifted from blue to a mysterious purple. Back on the plain, a fire crackled as a hefty slab of meat roasted over the flames. Ilhan set up camp, tapping his foot eagerly for dinner to be ready. Spotting the meat cooked, he pulled it off the flames without delay. Eartha raised an eyebrow at Ilhan choosing toxic troll meat for dinner. Had he forgotten the poison risk? Ilhan didn't protest and offered Eartha a bite. The meat tasted like beef but sheer. Checking his system, Ilhan noticed his poison resistance had leveled up. He grinned at the unexpected bonus. Angelica warned the poison level was high. Ilhan shrugged it off, confident his skill would handle it. Dinner wrapped up and the campfire flickered out quietly. Sitting by a tree, Ilhan noted his cooking skill was leveling up fast, thanks to monster meat dinners. 5 days in the troll zone, only trolls appeared. Ilhan found it odd as he prepped another meal. Eartha shared a theory hesitantly. Ilhan was all ears, curious despite her doubts. Angelica claimed Ilhan's stealth even masked the fire's scent. He scoffed, but she teased that his stealth fooled even physics. By next day, Ilhan and Eartha tracked down the final troll target. 5 days of action and non-stop troll meat feasts had passed. Challenges popped up, and Ilhan confessed boredom with troll meat, craving variety. Still, his hunger for power kept him going. Eartha noted the meat was fueling his poison resistance and cooking skills. Angelica's mind-reading annoyed Ilhan, catching his thoughts before he spoke. Ilhan wasted no time and took down the last troll, instantly scoring over 500,000 XP. The system popped up. Level 50 was locked until a second class was chosen. Past records would count once picked. Angelica urged Ilhan to pick from 4 classes: Blood Lancer, Battle Expert, Rookie Reaper, or Berserker. Eartha cheered on his milestone. Angelica cautioned that this choice could shake things up, preparing Ilhan for the reveal. Blood Lancer would boost his existing skills drastically. Ilhan joked even his mom might not recognize him. Battle Expert mastered any weapon, even the body itself. Ilhan winced at the thought of taking hits barehanded. Berserker fought relentlessly until death. Ilhan blinked, stunned by the brutal options. Eartha clarified these rare classes didn't rely on mana, letting Ilhan pick freely. Ilhan noticed Eartha left out details on the Rookie Reaper, sparking his curiosity. Eartha confessed she'd never seen this class before, definitely something unique and rare. She hinted the class might not match its name exactly in real use. Ilhan picked the Rookie Reaper instantly, no second thoughts. The Celestial noted his love for puzzles. Ilhan knew she'd done her homework on him. The system explained the Rookie Reaper was a rite of passage, dealing death fairly while staying alive. Proving worth was mandatory. The mission: one-hit kills on second and third class monsters, all from stealth. Ilhan grumbled at the brutal difficulty. Suddenly it clicked why few surpassed level 50. One-shotting tough monsters sounded impossible. A moment's thought made him believe it just might be doable. Eartha crossed her arms, curious if Ilhan cracked the challenge already. A hammer materialized. Ilhan paused his rest skill upgrade, betting mana crafting with a stone golem might do the trick. Suddenly, a powerful energy burst rippled through the Troll Plains forest. Ilhan blinked, unsure what to make of it. Doubt crept in. Was this really enough? A weird noise caught Ilhan's attention. He snapped his head toward it. A massive sand scorpion dangled Naayuna in its claw. Naayuna's fear was clear as she silently pleaded for rescue. She struggled, but strength wasn't on her side. Monster had the upper hand. Nearby, Paitha's reminder stung. Tears welled up in Naayuna's eyes. Hyjin dashed after the scorpion, but help was out of reach. Ilhan puzzled over their failure to kill weak monsters. Eartha noted ambushes could throw off anyone, something he wouldn't quite get yet. Masked and annoyed, Ilhan hoped to avoid this hapless duo in future dungeons. Despite his grumbling, he knew ignoring the situation wasn't an option. As expected, Ilhan kept surprising Eartha, even after all her careful study. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button until explosion. See you on the next video.